I just think we should start doing this.
Just cold, just no lead in at all.
The sound is okay. I've already checked it.
Niamh, what would you tell the audience about everything we've been talking about up till now?
I wish I could say it was interesting, but it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm really glad it's not recorded, because that would have just been such a bummer.
Like, we solved a bunch of social class issues.
Oh, totally.
A murder.
Yeah.
A murder. And we found someone's lost cat.
Yeah.
Oh, whiskers.
Sorted out the whole North Korea thing. That was pretty good.
And the South Korea thing.
Yeah.
Hi-yo!
Oh, but now it's time to video games. Now it's time to video games, everybody. Welcome to the Let's Fight a Bosscast episode. It's 59 this time, right?
Yeah.
59.
Yes! What's so funny, John?
Oh, just my own complete inability to do the simple job of hosting a podcast. To my right, I have the final distillation of the human race, the ultimate evolution and last hope. It's Niamh.
Oh, I was like, this better be me. It's true.
And to my left, from a cosmos far away, he is the bringer of destruction and the ender of all things. It's Brian.
I have so much to apologize for. I'm so sorry, everyone.
And with your host, oh my god, this wine was a terrible idea. And with you always, it's me, John, aka Dial-Up Modem. That was disastrous. That was...
It was good. I liked it.
No, like, it had gumption, A+ for effort, but on a technical level, let me tell you, that would be a redo if it was going on the channel.
It had craft fair charm.
Craft fair charm.
Yeah, it was like a wicker basket, but it was like the second last wicker basket. And you're like, yeah, I'll go with this one. It's got a bit of cross-hatching out of order in the bottom left corner, but it's fine.
What was that phrase?
Craft fair charm.
Craft fair charm. I feel like that's a phrase that could get me out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah, like it's kind of like, it doesn't need to be perfect. The charm is that it's imperfect.
It's got rough edges, but it's sweet. It's genuine.
Wabi-sabi.
That, like, if someone was selling their homemade jam and you noticed that one of the jams in the jars, there was a slightly less amount, you'd be like...
Or if the label was printed to the side a little bit more.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't be a dick about it.
This is a bespoke podcast, everyone. It's a €100 a listen.
Unique, special and broken. Let's fight a boss. Let's put that on a t-shirt. Get that out the door.
We are unique, special friends. Broken. Specifically for you.
That's a good way of putting it. So, I've been watching some stuff. I saw the new It film. I've been on a bit of a, I don't know what you'd call it. Stephen King has kind of come up a lot in my life recently, and I've been watching a lot of Stephen King stuff. That guy's weird, but he's also fascinating. And this new movie, it's like, okay, it's a better movie than the old It. Like, the old It, I was talking about it, I think it was the last time on the podcast, but it's fucking goofy. Like, it's really silly, and the acting's kind of lame, and all this kind of stuff. The new It is a better movie. Like, the characters make more sense, the dialogue's better, it's not laughable, you know? But I just didn't find it scary at all.
I don't think it's even meant to be scary at this stage. I think it's more adventure horror in terms of Stranger Things.
That's the feeling of it. Yeah. It feels way more like Stranger Things than It. But I also kind of feel like the story behind It isn't very good. Like, it's not really that interesting a story. The characters aren't that interesting. And all the characters are done better in this one, you know, and the actors are really good now. But I feel like then they are kind of going for this nearly kind of horror Goonies thing.
That's such a good description, yeah.
Yeah. Goonies. But I don't know, I guess I just found the horror in the old It so weird and kind of fever dreamy, and I love that about it. Like, I think whatever else you could say about that film, the horror is its own unique thing. But the horror in this one, there's a lot of it screaming at the camera and moving towards the camera very quickly. You know that way?
Yeah.
Lovely.
And it's jump scary as fuck. Like, there's so many jump scares, and they're kind of lame.
Are there good sequences in the film of Pennywise, like, you know, doing like a cool trick or like a gimmick or something?
Okay, so Pennywise, the guy playing Pennywise, really good. Really, really good. Totally different take on it than Tim Curry. It's like Tim Curry was like this kind of like... He was like a demon used car salesman, and he had all this bravado, and he was trying to lure the children in, and that was
very, very theatrical.
Very theatrical, and I love that. The new one, it's way more apparent that he's like a demon disguised as a clown, and he doesn't quite know how to do it.
He seems unstable, like he's drooling. I saw it too. He's drooling and like his eyes are twitching and going different directions. It's like he's struggling to keep the form of the clown.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really good take on it. And like I love the bits where like his sentences trail off and he kind of loses run of what he's saying and stuff. That stuff was really, really good.
Barely keeping it together.
Yeah.
He's played by Bill Skarsgård.
It is played by Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Whoa. So
he's like super handsome.
Seemingly he's doing the eye thing himself.
Yeah, he has very, very penetrating eyes, which I'm sure is used effectively in the film.
And his lip thing he can put on as well. Like, I don't know, his face is very elastic and he did a good job with it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think I was less into the actual, like, the character design of it in this movie. Like, what I liked about the old character design is, like, he only looks very vaguely threatening. Like, you could take it in the way all clowns do. You could take the old It and drop him into like a circus and he'd fit in. But the new one looks like a concept drawing of a scary clown. And that kind of bothered me a bit. Because it was just like, he's meant to look scary, but I think what was so effective about the old one was there was this kind of uncanniness about him. Like, he just looked sort of... You weren't quite sure what was going on, but the new one, especially like with the lipstick that comes out and up into his eyes, I thought that was kind of dumb.
He has a more kind of ratty looking costume, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's more like sewer damaged.
Yeah.
Whereas the previous It had a very, very clean costume at all times, even though he was down in the sewers.
And the previous costume as well, it was very loose, which I kind of liked, because it was like, you weren't really sure what was going on under there. But the new one's just like, you know what I'm saying, Brian, you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And the new one is like, it's very kind of like just form-fitting and regular. What do you think of the movie, Niamh?
My issue with it is kind of like yours, where it's not really a horror. So then a lot of the stuff it was saying became really weirdly gross to me. Like, so the girl character.
Okay, let's get to that, because there was a few bits in that there was a few bits in that film where I was like, ooh, I hope this girl is like over 18, because this is fucking weird.
Yeah, okay.
She's not.
So we'll get to that part.
Okay.
Because I think that was made worse by the non-horror aspect. The CGI was wildly inconsistent.
Just way too much CGI across the board.
But like the first scene, one of the characters gets his... I'm going to spoil it, I don't really care. The little kid character gets his arm bitten off.
Mm-hmm.
And that looked like crap. Like, it looked crap.
Yeah, it looks really bad.
But then there's other scenes later on that look amazing. And, like, there was no consistency with it. Like, it looked really bad or really good. And you can see some scenes getting priority.
I get the feeling this film was rushed out and it was probably outsourced to different VFX studios, and some studios had good sequences and others had bad sequences.
But then the other thing where it's not rushed is there's loads of amazing practical props. Like, there's a room filled with clown dolls, and they're all physical
that was cool.
dolls, and there's like really, really cool physical locations and really nice shots. But then other parts of it really looked kind of shitty.
And there was one, like, I think whatever it is with CG, my brain always kicks in, and it's always like, this isn't real. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't happen to me with practical effects, which I think, it doesn't matter if I'm watching Star Wars or some shit, like, that's fine. But with horror, I think I need to believe it's real, and CG... There's a really good bit where one of the kids he's in his dad's office and there's this creepy painting, and the painting itself was really creepy. I thought, I was like, oh, that looks fucking weird. And then it appears and he's like the person from the painting, but it's completely CG. And I really wish they had done that with practical effects. I really wish they had just, gotten a really well-made, like, mask and costume and like lit it really dramatically, because it's moving at like perfect like 60 frames a second, and it's just, you're like, oh, there is a computer generated 3D model that's animating.
It feels really floaty.
Yeah.
And light. It itself, when he bares his teeth, those weren't scary at all to
They
me.
were too perfect.
Yeah.
They were just pristine. Well, like, they were pristine alien teeth.
He's got very long teeth, doesn't he?
Well, this is like when he kind of like his clown head kind of pulls back. It's like all these like rows of little jagged teeth kind of thing, kind of like a predator mouth but with loads of teeth.
Yeah.
And it looked bad CG and it looked kind of shitty, and it kind of I felt like a clown biting you is scarier than this like weird maw thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was just like I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Were people scared in the cinema when you watched this movie?
No.
Were people laughing, or what were they doing?
It was just me and Michelle in the cinema.
There's nobody else.
There's a few people in mine, and I think it was just general. I kind of felt the feeling coming out of it was all right, like from everyone.
I've heard
At least it's all right.
I've heard people positive on it, and it is all right. But my least favorite kind of movie is all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I felt like this didn't really move my needle in any direction. And like the old, like I keep saying it, I thought the old It's kind of a crummy movie. It's kind of stupid and it's kind of dumb, but I love it because it's good where it matters, and that's in the scary bits. So the girl character,
Beverly.
Yeah.
There we go. That was really, 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 really disappointing to me. I went to the cinema with three women, and we all came out being really kind of grossed out by that stuff.
I thought there were parts of it though that were genuinely really gross. Like there's a really gratuitous shot of her like pulling off her dress.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, man, she's fucking young and that's weird. And like whatever, like it wouldn't be like a whole lot better if she was older, but it was like I felt like it sexualized her in this way that kind of grossed me out.
It really did. And what was really even worse about it is
the gaze thing.
Yeah, okay, like in it everyone has their fear. The kid has the painting, it's a spooky painting. The other kid is afraid that about his brother, that's his fear. Like the other kid is afraid of being sick, so he sees a leper. Her fear is her father who's sexually abusing her. And like we see this in the film, and there's a vicious scene where he tries to like rape her. And then there's another scene where she cuts her hair off because she wants to be seen as less sexual to her father. And then you're like, Jesus, that's so fucking awful. And then she goes to her friends, the only place that she's solace. And every scene she has with her friends, she's sexualized in that weird slow motion thing they did as well. So it was kind of like she was never safe from this.
And like there's a bit where she's literally asleep and there's like a close-up of her tits with the boys looking at her tits in the background, and it was like, what the fuck is going on? And like in the old It film, that girl was like, she was the girl, she had no real identity at all. And so when they started this off and it's like she's a young girl, she's hit puberty super early, I thought that was interesting. I was like, well, that fucking happens, people, and like I knew girls that happened too, and like that was weird for them. That's a really interesting avenue to explore. But then they used that to turn her into like the hot girl that all the nerds want to sleep with, you know? Yeah,
it was just like, it was kind of depressing because it was like, wow, she is just relegated to the girl. And it's like when you're doing an adaptation, you have the chance to kind of change things. Like they left out the child sex orgy because they should.
And that's my main problem with this movie. It's like, commit, goddammit.
But nearly if they left that in, that would make more sense with how they depicted this character.
Fit the tone better.
Yeah,
honestly, it kind of would have.
Yeah, like
I don't think they should have, but I feel like they went halfway with the character. And like,
yeah, and it was just like, it was just really strange. It was like when they bet the shit out of it at the end with like pipes and stuff, I was just like, and now they all fuck in my head. And that felt like it made more sense for how horrible it was up to that stage with her.
I did think that sequence was actually pretty good.
When they bet the shit out of him? Yeah, it was pretty satisfying.
Yeah.
And there was some good CG there where he turned from the little boy into the clown. I thought that was pretty impressive. I was like, that's cool. But it's sad because Beverly is actually a really cool character and one of the braver characters. Like she will...
And her actor was good.
Yeah, she was brilliant. She will go forth before anyone else. She put a crowbar into It's head when he was attacking one of the boys. Like she's like a pretty active, strong person, but she doesn't get the role of the brave character. She gets the role of sexy girl, you know? And it was just demoralizing, and I was like, great, summer blockbuster.
That a lot of that stuff felt like it was from a film like 20 years ago.
I know, but it's not. And you get this opportunity to change it, or at least if you're going to tell that story, have it come to some kind of conclusion about it. But it didn't. like she's suffering, like she's literally being abused at home and then by her friends, and it's kind of like, oh god,
but with her friends it's like, oh, it's only playful, boys will be boys,
but it's all
and
this,
that sucks,
this weird undercurrent of it, and it's just like, god, can this girl not exist anywhere where it's not about like wanting to fuck her?
So if you're owned a certain way where, let's say she fights it, but it turns into her dad and she kicks the shit out of the manifestation of her dad, the boys witness this and they're kind of taken aback by it too, and they see her in a different light.
Yeah, like
with like a quick solution like that.
Something, or where they just didn't give the male gaze to the guys, like that weird shot where they're like viewing her body, that one you mentioned. Like if they cut out that shot, and they cut out the weird kind of like her stripping off her dress and like that shot as well. Like if they just made her on equal footing with the guys, it just her story about her dad would have meant something in terms of the film.
It's a little bit similar to the Persona thing I've been talking about with Anne, where like, you know, Anne is like getting treated like a sex object by Kamoshida, but then the main cast are treating her like that as well, and it kind of just breaks her story. It's similar to that,
and it's kind of like, no, that's the bad way to sexualize her, but this is the okay way kind of thing. It's like, what? Like maybe just don't. I don't know. It was a disappointing aspect of a kind of generally okay movie.
Yeah, an okay movie.
Yeah.
It's been a weird year for summer movies.
Oh yeah?
Well, what was there? There was, well, like at the start we had Wonder Woman. That was pretty good. Have you guys seen Wonder Woman?
No.
You should see Wonder Woman.
Yeah, maybe I need to.
You should, Niamh, you should probably see Wonder Woman. There's a lot of stuff in there that you get a lot out of.
Okay, we'll do.
Yeah, what else? A new Transformers came out. A Mummy film came. What the fuck was this summer?
Yeah, it was a bad year for movies. Baby Driver, which people liked, but I thought was bad.
I really, really like Baby Driver, but I forgot about it. I completely.
That's Baby Driver for you.
Well, I did really like it. I forgot about it.
I don't think I would have thought about it again if I wasn't going to talk about it on this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I came out of it, and then like a couple of minutes later, I was like, oh yeah. Like, it hadn't occupied my mind at all after that.
And it's crazy because its budget is huge. Like,
it
looks expensive. Yeah. And I was like, man, there's so many better, like, indie horror films that if it had half of the budget of this could, like, have brought something way more interesting to the table.
Okay, what's better? It or Death Note?
Death Note.
Death Note made me, like, laugh and made me have fun emotions. Here's my emotional peak with it. It was like, yeah.
Same.
Death Note made me scream into a pillow in a good way.
My favorite part of it is it opens and there's spooky piano music, and then the kid goes downstairs and then it's his mom at the piano, and I thought that was really funny.
She got you. Yeah. Spooky mom.
Son, don't disturb me when I'm playing my spooky music. Brian, you have also watched something with haunted clowns, and that is Broad City.
Hey, they're not haunted, they're great clowns.
Is it good?
Yeah. What is it now? Season 4?
Yeah, 4, I think.
There's only 2 episodes out. By the time this podcast is published, there'll be 3 episodes out, but it's starting strong. The first episode is a parody of Gwyneth Paltrow's Sliding Doors.
Okay.
And the way they've done it now, I think they're on Comedy Central, but the way they publish the episodes is they'll have like a 2-minute bit at the end where they'll just have Abby and Alana talking about like the production of the episode, and you know, just a little backstory to each one. And this is so the first episode of season 4 was an episode that they wanted to tell since season 1, but they weren't kind of like ready to tell it yet.
Oh my god, okay.
But it's such a funny episode.
Do you think it's on par with like seasons 1 to 3?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's absolutely a season 1 episode, and then season 2. And then episode 2 of season 4 was pretty good. It just felt like regular Broad City. They had the guy that works in the gym. I can't remember his name. The fitness guy.
Oh, I know the guy you're talking about. Yeah.
So it turns out that behind the scenes, he and I don't know if it's his girlfriend or just writing partner, but they are partners. They write and direct a lot of Broad City as well. So there's actually more of a team of 4 outside of Abby and Alana doing Broad City. But he does an impression of Ross from Friends, and it's so bad and it's so funny. You know how I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
I know you like Broad City, but Niamh, I think the show was made for me.
It's about two stoner girls. I think it's made for me.
No, it's made for me, Niamh. I love it so, like...
It's why you like me.
Yeah.
Niamh, as we've established on this podcast, more shows need to be made for men, so just let him have this one.
Okay.
For me, when I watch Broad City, I have a special laugh, and I have to watch it alone in my bedroom on my laptop, and my girlfriend Rebecca will go, "You watching Broad City?" And I'll be like, "Yeah." Because she won't watch it, because she's like, it's a bit too silly, it's a bit too weird for me. I think it's absolutely perfect. They make fun of Sex in the City in a way that everyone should make fun of Sex in the City.
It's a good review.
I think it's one of the best stoner comedies.
Yeah.
Like, it just is.
I've never heard it described as a stoner comedy.
It's absolutely
but
stoner.
that makes so much sense now.
It's as good as Idle Hands. I love Idle Hands. Is one of my favorite stoner comedies. Have you seen Idle Hands, Niamh?
Yep.
I really, really like the first half of Idle Hands. They captured the suburbs so well. Of just one guy going over to his friend's house and then forgetting that he wore pants, so he has to borrow pants off his friend.
What's your favorite stoner comedy?
Um,
You can say Broad City if it is.
Harold and Kumar 2.
I love Harold and Kumar. It's such a good.
I specifically like Harold and Kumar 2, which has George Bush in it, and it just has some weird jokes, especially at the end when they go to Amsterdam. And it's John. Do you like stoner comedies?
I'm too high strung for them, I think.
I think you gotta mellow out, bro.
I'm trying.
It's a lot of silliness.
I'm really trying.
I think you gotta light up a J, kick back, and eat some onion rings. You feel me?
I don't know.
Niamh gets it. Just, okay, a big fat one.
Okay,
cup of tea,
we're moving on.
You're a winner. Broad City's the best.
Smiley Face is a really good stoner comedy for people who mightn't know that they like stoner comedies.
Yeah.
It's got your one from Scary Movie. What's her name?
Anna Faris.
Yeah,
and
Anna
it's
Faris.
directed by Greg Araki, who does really, really good independent gay movies.
Independent gay or game?
Gay movies.
Okay.
He did the one with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I don't even know this. You are a better me than me.
Is it called 50-50?
No, it's called...
That's Death Cancer.
Okay.
That's really good as well.
Yeah,
it's
that's
called Mysterious Skin.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That film is really, really good. The soundtrack to that's amazing. I like films. And I love stoner films. Just light one up, John.
I mean, my birthday is coming up. We'll see.
Niamh, you know the way we're drinking wine on this podcast?
No. I refuse to believe that'd be fun to listen to. We're not doing that.
We could just do it as a test and just never tell anyone and just see if anyone would notice.
I think that would work if we did it like 3 episodes ago and we're like, guess what we did? But now everyone's going to be like, now no matter what, for every episode, everyone's going to be like, this is the one where they're stoned.
I remember there was one, I think it was like the 8th or 9th episode, but we did it, and in the middle of it I was talking and I said, my hands smell really good.
I remember that. And you were like, smell my hands.
Yeah, they smell really good though.
There was a recent episode of Comic Book Girl 19 where I was like, there's something off about this episode, and I looked in the comment section and this guy was like, she is stoned off her face.
Oh, I watched the odd Comic Book Girl 19 episode and I'm like, you're pretty mellow this episode.
Yeah, she was. It's so good. I love her.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Niamh, tell us about Manhunt, Unabomber.
Okay, to get serious.
Fuck.
Shit.
In the vein of American Crime Story OJ, Manhunt Unabomber is about the Unabomber case, and it's a Discovery original series. I didn't realize Discovery Channel did original series, but they do, and it's good. So, do you guys know about the Unabomber?
No, it's something I hear like The Simpsons will make a joke about it, and then I'll hear it mentioned in a song, but I never know what it is.
Okay, so the Unabomber was this guy who mailed bombs to people, and they would open the package and it would blow up. He killed 3 people and injured 26 others, maimed them.
Jesus.
He was an asshole. But what's interesting about this case is he would write letters and he would say, I'm going to blow up this airport and do this, and kind of leave red herrings and kind of stuff for the police to go down.
Like a Batman villain.
Exactly. But he was in operation for 16 years before he was caught.
What?
they just couldn't catch him. And the reason they couldn't catch him is they wrote him off as an idiot. They thought he's called a Unabomber because he targeted universities, so Un, and then airports, A, Unabomber. So that's where that comes from. They thought he was an idiot who was angry at smart people. But he was a really, really intelligent person. He was a mathematics teacher. And the way they caught him and what the series goes into mostly is the field of forensic linguistics. So he sent a manifesto to the police, believing that no one would ever catch him. And the police didn't really want to read the manifesto because they thought they had this profile of him. They thought they knew him. But they got a linguistics professional in. And this is before anyone really took it serious as a field. And he noticed that the way the manifesto was formatted was a special type of formatting done for dissertations in a certain type of college during a certain period of years. So they could track him down using that and using the language he used in the dissertation. And the series is basically about this kind of, it goes from flashbacks to him, the linguist who caught him talking to the Unabomber, and him going back to the past where he's trying to catch him. So you kind of know already how it ends.
Sure.
But it's this cat and mouse chase where he's trying to convince everyone else that, no, we should be looking at the language used and not the tools used. They looked at the bomb itself and they were like, oh, he's a disgruntled Air Force worker because it was made with pieces you'd find on an airfield. But nothing to do with that. He was just going to scrapyards. So it's just like, it's a really fascinating series and it's shot beautifully and it's one of the most engaging, interesting things I've watched in a while. And if you like the OJ thing, I think you'd really like the Unabomber thing. It moves a bit slower because it's not a celebrity case.
How many episodes is it?
I think it's 10.
That might be one to watch with my parents.
Yes,
that's a nice number. Yeah.
It's your parents will like this and so will you.
Sweet.
Really good series. Really love it. I read his manifesto, which I kind of end up doing.
Niamh's very fond of like homicidal psychopaths manifestos.
She sort of relates to them.
No, I don't. That's
Niamh, it's cool. It's cool. Come on.
It's okay to hate on people.
Yeah.
I just want to read someone trying to justify murder because they never can. They just never can. And you're reading it going like, all right, but no.
Niamh. Or can they?
They never can. Anyway, really great series. Really loved it. It's beautiful looking as well.
Cool. Brian.
Yes.
Tell us about the Deuce.
The Deuce.
The Deuce.
The Deuce.
This sounds familiar.
This is a new HBO show. There's 3 episodes of it out. It is co-created by David Simon, the creator of The Wire.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
The first season's only 8 episodes, so we're nearly halfway through it now. It is about the rise of the porn industry in New York in the early 1970s.
Huh.
Cool. That's interesting.
And the backdrop is 42nd Street, and this is pre-Rudy Giuliani cleaning up New York in the late 80s. So 42nd Street, where Times Square kind of begins, is just full of pimps, prostitutes, weird bars, weird sex bars, weird sex holes.
Brian, can I stop you there?
Yeah.
What's a sex bar?
What's a sex hole?
I feel like to understand what a sex hole is, we first need to understand... We need the context of what a sex bar is. Because I think a sex hole is going to be a leveled up sex bar.
I don't know. Okay, it's too broad a subject. But I guess one of the examples on this spectrum in episode 3 is a bunch of guys in a room all masturbating to 2 people having sex, and it's
what the fuck? Are you serious?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a fun party, bro.
That doesn't sound very sexy. Like, if I was out with fucking Dave and the lads and they were like, do you want to go jack off to 2 people having sex? I'd be like, no.
Okay. This is 1970.
Are we gonna have to cut that? Was that too far?
No. This is a HBO show. Okay, in the first episode, they show like 3 erect penises.
They love willies at HBO.
Yeah.
It's mad.
And it's directed by Michelle Monaghan, who's directed some of the best episodes of Breaking Bad, some of the best episodes of Game of Thrones. She was meant to direct Wonder Woman, but she stepped down because I think she prefers directing television. I think there's less There's less people in a boardroom. There's more freedom.
Yeah. The television is long form as well, so it's
it is
way more interesting.
Who's in the cast? We have James Franco playing identical twins.
How does that work? Because like when twins happens, I find I'm looking at the screen being like, who's CG? You know?
Okay, what they've done is he looks exactly the fucking same. He has the exact same shitty mustache. The only difference is the hair length is slightly longer on one of them, but the way he'll play them differently is they have very, very different dispositions.
Okay. So it works. It's never uncanny valley.
He's a decent actor.
I really, really like James Franco. That guy, he works really hard. He does a lot of stuff every year.
He's passionate about it as well,
Yeah.
I think.
He'll do the stoner comedies, but then he'll do some weird shit as well.
I flip-flop on him a lot. I read his poetry book and it made me angry.
I don't think I could read anyone's poetry book and not get angry.
Oh my god, shut up. Poetry's amazing.
Would you read Niamh's poetry book?
I can't write poetry because I'm not talented and amazing enough to do so.
Not like James Franco, who is
Oh my god,
he's a genius.
His poetry book is called Straight James, Gay James, where he just he explores being gay through poetry.
That's the best.
Okay.
Like, if I was writing a TV show and I wanted to make a character seem like a fucking idiot, I couldn't imagine having a better thing than them having a poetry book like that. Like,
Did you ever watch King Cobra, the film? It's on Netflix.
That's an amazing movie.
Okay, and so it's got James Franco, but it also has like actual porn actors in it.
Wait, I'm thinking of Gothic King Cobra.
Yeah,
that's a very different movie.
No, that's
that's a YouTube star in the making.
That guy's muscle development is so fast.
What, is he buff now?
No. He just talks about it a lot. Sorry, go on.
Gothic King Cobra is an interesting body. But anyway, James Franco's body of work is quite interesting. See what I did?
James Franco also has a buff body of work.
Yeah. It's alright with his shirt off.
Oh yeah, no, he's a sexy man, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's got a couple of wire actors as well. The dudes playing all the pimps are amazing. They have this one British actor, and he plays like the most slick back pimp with a cane, and he fits the role so well. He's as good as like Stringer Bell, because you know how Stringer
Bell's amazing.
He's so convincing at playing a New York pimp. Like, you see this guy, and I did not believe he was English.
I wish Stringer Bell didn't do all those Sky One ads. Did you ever see them?
No. No, let me keep my memory of Stringer Bell pure.
Stringer Bell. He does all these.
He hasn't been Stringer Bell for like 13 years.
No, he hasn't. But he has all these things where he's like swanning around in like this big lounge, going, "Oh wow, Game of Thrones," and like, "No, Stringer Bell, go back to the streets."
Right, mate, I'm from Hackney.
All right, mate, let's watch some Breaking Bad. And it's
you like Pacific Rim? You what, mate? You what? Come in, mate. Well, here's a chip, will you?
Okay, we've gone horribly off topipic.
It's me, Stringer Bell.
Brian, the Deuce. Tell us about the Juice.
The Juice is really good. I don't know. It's way better than fucking Vinyl, which was the HBO New York series. Because you know how most HBO shows take place in New York because that's where the headquarters are.
Yeah. It's
where the boardroom is. So if it's a New York story, they all go, "Oh yeah, I'm walking here." They all love it. It's about the Big Apple. It's about the big York.
Didn't he do another series as
city.
Well called
Treme?
Yeah, I watched a couple episodes. That wasn't good.
I didn't like Treme, and I didn't like Generation Kill, which is the Iraq War one that has Ziggy from The Wire.
My dad loves Generation Kill.
Yeah, it's for dads.
Yeah,
they're like, "Hey, do the Bartman. It's really good." What the fuck is that?
Yeah, what's happening?
That was really fucking weird.
What the fuck was that?
I want to see if that showed up on the audio waves. Hang on. Jesus. We're so sorry, everyone.
What was that?
Yeah, we can't explain that.
We have a Halloween podcast coming up real soon. The ghosts are getting ready to spook John.
They're fucking riled.
For new listeners, I'm Brian.
I'm Niamh.
I'm John.
John's haunted.
No, come on.
Okay, the Deuce is really good. I think you both enjoy it. I think you both get stuff out of it. It's produced by James Franco as well, and it's produced by Maggie Gyllenhaal. She's also in it.
Maggie Gyllenhaal, I love her.
She plays a prostitute that
Really?
wants to...
Whoa, what do you mean, really? What's wrong with Maggie Gyllenhaal?
I'm like 50-50 on Maggie. I way prefer Jake. Like, Jake can do nothing wrong.
Oh my god, this is sexism.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Jake Gyllenhaal
Maggie-
could take a dump on my back.
Wait,
and I'd be cool
are
with
they
it.
related?
They're brother and sister.
I didn't know that.
They're Donnie Darko together. They're brother and sister.
Oh wow! Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know the fucking exact history of the actors who were in Donnie fucking Darko.
They've got a weird surname, Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
They're related.
All American surnames to me are weird.
John, our listeners are mostly American. They're offended right now.
I just
mad.
mean I don't hear them on a day-to-day basis.
Anyway, Maggie is amazing, and she always has been.
Why?
She's beautiful and smart and talented. She's female Jake. Everything Jake is, Maggie is.
She really, really brings something to the Deuce.
Yeah.
Was Maggie Gyllenhaal in The Dark Knight?
Yeah. She plays.
I thought she was really lame in that.
She plays what's her name? Rachel
That's
Dawes.
about-
Is that her character?
Yeah. What about is she in?
She's
is
in
it
Strange-
adaptation with?
Nicolas Cage? No, she's
No,
in
no,
Stranger
no.
Than Fiction.
Yes,
and she plays a
that's what I'm
pottery
thinking of.
girl in this.
Oh,
She's really good in
okay.
that.
She was
She's a
really.
sweet tattoo.
That is a good movie, and
Yeah.
she was good in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like her a lot.
Okay. I'm on board.
She's a cute smile.
She's in The Secretary.
I don't want to be mean. It's just she's one of those people where I look at her and I'm like,
Ugh, where's the boobs?
that's so unfair. Oh my god.
Niamh, I'm just saying that in the Deuce you get to see her boobs.
We all love Maggie Gyllenhaal.
That you just like what? Can you tell us about AHS?
This is American Horror Story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
See, after you said you thought it was good, I decided to watch it.
You think it's pretty great, right?
I'm okay with it so far. The lead characters are lesbians, but Jesus Christ, like I love Sarah Paulson, but her character
Is she playing a lesbian this time?
Yeah. She's played a lesbian before in Asylum.
Okay, she's also played a lesbian in real life, but you know.
Yeah. She's so annoying.
Yeah, she is.
Like if my partner kept screaming about clowns all the time, I'd be like, "Oh, honey."
Can I tell you something
No.
about Sarah Paulson?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. It's completely my fault. I fucking hate her so much.
Really?
Brian, what?
Oh my
I
god.
know. Now, she, like, people on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, love her.
Because she's amazing.
Because
She was in OJ, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was so good in OJ.
She's so good in OJ. She's also in 12 Years a Slave. She smashes the whiskey
good in
against
that?
Patsy's head.
Oh, that bit's fucking... Yes. Yes, she is.
What
very-
don't you like about her then?
I don't like her face.
That's such a terrible
I
thing.
know.
She's such a great actress.
I know. And it's not. It's completely my fault. You know how we all have an
How
actor.
come you're not like to Brian? Where's the boobs?
Yeah, like this is what I'm about Sarah.
You see her boobs in that Nick Cage film that isn't very good.
Oh my god, but like
You should
I just
check
think
that
she's
out,
like
Niamh,
one
you
of
might
these
like it.
really engaging actresses that she can literally play anyone
Yeah.
and you believe it
Yeah.
You know what-
straight away.
I think the first thing I saw her in was 12 Years a Slave, and it really stuck with me.
Okay.
Like fair fucks to her. Like it's completely my problem. I completely respect her, but
She just irritates you.
I don't like her face.
Do
I
not watch the new American Horror Story.
won't. I don't like
do
the
not
show.
any favors for you at all.
She's in every like. Who's the guy that makes the Ryan something? He also made Glee.
Oh, I don't know his second name.
All right. Well, Ryan Murphy. Yeah, it's an Irish surname. Yeah, he makes Glee, American Horror Story, American Crime Story, Scream Queens. Did he also do Popular?
He did another one as well, the plastic surgery one.
Nip Tuck.
Yeah.
He's been around television for like 20 years. Cool guy. But
Why do you hate Sarah Paulson?
I think everyone has an actor that they just
dislike.
don't connect with. I remember before there was a guy at work and I was like, you should watch Breaking Bad. This is at like the peak of Breaking Bad. And he was like, I don't like Bryan Cranston's face. Pisses me off.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's so weird. And then I saw Sarah Paulson and I was like, I get it.
John, who's an actor you dislike just randomly?
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
No.
No.
I think I just didn't like her in Dark Knight. I just thought she was kind of lame in that.
That was the bad role for her.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a good role. But I did really like her in that other film that we forgot. Oh, an actor I dislike. Like, I don't dislike him, but when people are like, yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I'm like, why? I think Leonardo DiCaprio is really good in some stuff and genuinely terrible in others. Like, when people are like, oh, Leonardo DiCaprio in Inception, it's like, okay, like, alright, buddy.
He's so bad in The Beach.
Look, Leo's best role was Romeo plus Juliet.
It was Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh my god, that movie's terrible, Brian.
I only saw it the one time and I had a blast.
Oh, I had a blast with that movie too.
Oh.
If you wouldn't like it because you're a girl.
Yeah,
You
probably.
wouldn't get
like,
it.
This is the worst human.
You wouldn't get it.
He was
You're
really great
not
in the
a...
I think both our girlfriends really like that movie.
Yeah, but Niamh's not gender coded to like it, unfortunately. You just saw it and you were just like, no, it doesn't pass the Bechdel test. I don't like it.
Nothing does.
No, except Sex and the City movies. But then I think...
The most feminist movie is Sex and the City.
Yeah, it is. That bit
like
where those women, that bit with those women take off their, like, you know, burqa is perfect.
I think half the Alien movies do not pass the Bechdel test.
That's just everyone's dead.
For anyone who doesn't know what the Bechdel test, it is two named female characters that talk about something that isn't a man.
Mm-hmm. In a movie.
It
was created by Alison Bechdel, who does graphic novels that, if you are into reading them, Fun Home.
Fun Home is absolutely brilliant.
Has there ever been a comic she's done that hasn't passed the Bechdel test?
No, because they're all about lesbians. They're all like autobiographical.
Yeah, she's great.
I can't think of an actor that really bothers me. If one comes up, I'll say it. But I always see actors I don't like, and then eventually I'll see them in something I like, and I'll be like, ah.
I got one.
Okay.
She won an Emmy recently. So Nicole Kidman.
You just don't like her?
I just her face annoys me.
She's very smarmy.
I really wanted to watch that series, like Pretty Little Liars, was it? Or?
Pretty Little Lies.
Yeah.
I watched our first episode and someone pitched to me as Desperate Housewives. I thought there'd be more to it.
There's no.
I just like whenever she's in something, I'm instantly out of it. And Martin Freeman, because it looks like someone's dad just wandered onto the set. I really don't like him at all. But that's about it.
He really looks like the kind of guy that's like holding someone's coat while they're doing something.
Yeah, it's just like, where did this potato come from? Get out.
Go back to the north of England.
Oh.
John, you must have someone.
There has to be someone.
Yeah.
I'm too negative a person not to. I just can't think of anyone.
Like, see some. Oh, Dave Franco. You hate that fucker.
Dave Franco. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that mumbly little shitbag.
That rat
Jesus
fuck.
Christ, that little rat fuck.
He looks really good in the Disaster Artist. He plays Greg Sestero in that.
I don't think anything that guy could be in could be good.
And like you really like James Franco.
Okay. James Franco used to be one of those people who I was like,
He's
this
a Freaks and
guy's
Geeks.
shit. He was really good in Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Oh, you know who else? That really fucking handsome guy.
Hollywood?
Yeah, you know that one handsome actor, Drive.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling, fucking incredible in Drive. I've said this before, I think, but like not in like in like. I think the ability to just stand there and ooze charisma is really impressive, genuinely impressive. As much as people are like say, "Oh, he wasn't that good, Nick, because he just did nothing." Anything else I have ever seen him in, I want to put my foot through his fucking face.
I think that's it though. In Drive, he has such a limited role that just standing there being kind of sexy kind of works for him. But
Yeah.
when
They
he
use
needs to
Ryan
act,
very well. In
I
that
feel
film.
like in every other role he's ever done, he's like, I am very, very aware that I am the sexy person.
John, did you see La La Land?
Yes.
Did you finish it?
Yes. I fucking hated it.
I hate that film so much.
Like, I hated it so much that I considered doing a fucking Why La La Land is Terrible on my fucking anime video game channel. That's how much I hated it.
I can't believe the same guy directed Whiplash directed that film.
What the fuck? I know, yeah. Okay, I'm going to give it credit where it's due. That opening musical number, pretty good.
No,
I hate that bit.
No,
Oh,
it's good.
It's
It's
lit.
good.
It's lit weirdly.
Yeah,
You can't
it's
see
It's
anyone's
choreographed
face.
very, very
Yes,
well. You're not meant to see their faces because it's
Can
just a
you
big
hum
thing.
and-
the whole
from
fucking
it.
thing is
I can't
backlit.
know.
You
I don't
can't
remember
see.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all
exactly.
stark shadows. You can't see
I
shit.
can remember a song from literally every musical I've ever seen. If you ask me to hum anything from La La Land, not a
I
chance.
actually know the main jingle from La La Land, and sometimes it'll pop into my head.
Your
and it
memory's
makes,
freakish, though.
yeah, and I don't like my brain. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You
Brian's
fucking brain.
Brian's memory is very specific, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
Because this is getting so ridiculously off topic. But what's interesting
a
about
video
Brian
game podcast.
is like he's amazing for trivia, but then you have a lot of trouble remembering quotes Because sometimes you'll quote something and I'll be like, Brian, that isn't right.
It is.
And I get really shocked because it's like...
Show me the monies. That's the quote. I know it. Cuba Good Jr. says it. Cuba Good. He's really good at Cuba.
Oh, we have got to move this podcast on. This is
a video game podcast, everyone.
Niamh, sorry. You had barely gotten into your opinion on American Horror Story.
My opinion is I don't really know yet, but so far I'm annoyed by Sarah Paulson's character, and it's seemingly with American Horror Story, it gets stupid lately. It gets stupid really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
This has gotten stupid super quickly.
All the clown shit.
Yeah, just the clown shit, and just kind of like, why are you leaving your child alone? Why aren't you going back to your wife when she's freaking out? You know, there's just like stuff that real people would never ever do, and I hate when people are stupid in horror because I think it reduces the horror to nothing, you know?
I think the part I'm just enjoying about it is like I like that it kind of has a message in that when people get scared, not stupid in the way you're talking about, but when people get scared, they get stupid and they start changing their beliefs in all these weird ways.
I agree with that.
I think that's a really relevant, cool thing to talk about, especially nowadays. But everything else you said, yeah.
I'm holding out. I'm watching it, and I'm entertained while watching it. But like, so far, it hasn't really grabbed me.
I don't think it's gonna. I think it's only going to go downhill from here.
Here's the thing. Stop bringing back Twisty the Clown.
Yes.
It's like it's become so self-referential that it's annoying. It's just like, I don't think that many people really give a shit about Twisty.
Oh, you know, fucking there's some like horror group on Tumblr who love the shit out of Twisty.
Is Twisty the one from the Freak Show?
Yeah. But he's come back in 2 other seasons.
Wait, what other seasons did he come back in?
I think he's in Hotel at the
Seriously?
Yeah, for a little bit. Yeah.
Hotel was so weird. That's the weirdest season they've ever done.
It's the one I have not like given any time to at all.
It's the one that has Lady Gaga in it, isn't it?
I watched it just because I like watching weird shit, but like I couldn't tell you anything that happened in that. It was completely lost on me.
I think even like the intro sequence to this is like they've thrown in everything in the kitchen sink. I liked when it was just the noise with a black screen. You know what I mean? It was kind of like
Freak Show had the best intro.
I can't even remember it.
It was so good. It was really good ones to do creepy dances to.
What?
Doesn't matter.
Let's just say that John is in his underwear and in his bedroom, keeping it real.
Creepy dance.
Whereas the rest of us are fakers. Is that right, John?
I agree. Yeah, I do agree with that.
I'm gonna try and creepy dance to the next.
I do it to every intro, and Michelle's like, stop.
So John's gonna upload a video to the Instagram specifically of his creepy dance.
I mean, that's not going to happen, but if it makes people go to the Instagram, sure.
Okay.
We are 47 minutes into this fucker. Let's keep going.
47 minutes into this video game podcast.
No, it's the American Horror Story fan podcast.
It's everyone's favorite podcast. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to talk about some video games, and the video game I'm going to talk about is Stephen King's The Shining miniseries from 1997.
Who do you play as?
and not the Kubrick film from the 80s.
No. So, I'm actually amazed. Like, I've mentioned this to a bunch of people, and this is part of my whole Stephen King kick, I guess. But I've mentioned this to a bunch of people, and I'm always shocked that, like, nobody knows about this series. But in 1997, Stephen King released a 3-part miniseries of The Shining because he hates the Stanley Kubrick film so much that he was like, I'm going to fucking do it right.
Is it done right?
It's bizarre watching this movie because like The Shining is easily one of my favorite movies of all time. Like I love that movie so much. I've watched it well over like 10 or 15 times. Like I really, really like that movie. And it's so weird to see the same story play out in such a completely different way. And what Stephen King said about The Shining is he hates it. He thinks like in the 1980s Shining, he thinks it's an awful movie, and he said it just feels like Stanley Kubrick made a film to hurt people. And that is totally what that movie is, totally. But he said like there's all these like kind of subplots in The Shining book that aren't in the movie. Like there's much more of a kind of internal struggle with Jack Torrance, who's called John Daniel Torrance in the book, and where he's like he goes mad much more gradually, whereas Jack Torrance is already on the edge when he gets to it in the 1980s version. But overall, it just really reads like the 1997 version really feels like a TV movie, which what it was, and it's so interesting seeing this like revered film, this like, you know, constantly quoted as one of the greatest horror movies of all time, depicted as like this cheap TV movie. Like, one thing I love about The Shining is I feel like every part of that movie is meant to be uncomfortable. Every single part. The least tense scene from The Shining is still incredibly tense, you know? The 1997 version is the total opposite. Like, say Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall. They're both people who are like in their day pretty attractive in real life, but in The Shining they're just styled to look like fucking crazy people, and they both look horrifying. You should see the two fuckers who star in the 1997 version of The Shining. Like, they're especially the girl who plays Wendy. She's so ridiculously beautiful, and it kills the tension. It absolutely kills it. There's like, she has a sexy scene where she comes down in like a silk nightrobe, and she keeps trying to convince her husband to have sex with her, but he's like, "No, honey, the Overlook." It's so weird. And there's a really scary fire hose that chases Danny, and oh my god, it's so goofy and it's so stupid. And
did you like it?
I enjoy it as a piece of schlocky horror. Like, I enjoy it in the same way I enjoy American Horror Story.
Okay,
you know?
so did Stephen King direct this, or was he very, very close to
He was an executive producer.
Okay. You should watch Maximum Carnage. That's the film he directed.
Oh my god, I didn't know he directed a movie.
It's a film about an evil truck. And it has, and it's got like a goblin's face on it, but it's got the Green Goblin's face. Like, Green Goblin from the Spider-Man is on the is a decal on the truck. It's so bad. And it's got Stephen King at the start, and he's trying to use an ATM machine and it's not working.
So there's a bunch of things about The Shining that are really cool. Like, the ghosts in The Shining, they never do anything direct. The most direct thing they do is they open the door for Jack when he gets locked in the freezer, and one of them attacks Danny, but they're both things that happen off screen.
Doesn't one of them kiss Jack?
Yes, but they don't like attack anyone.
Yeah.
They don't. It's all perception stuff. There's a bit in the 1997 Shining where Wendy is trying to run away from Jack, and a chair moves by itself and body checks her. And it's so unbelievably goofy. And me and Michelle have been watching this and having an absolute whale of a time with it. It's really good. I would really advise people watch The Shining and then watch this. Like, watch them, like, do it 2 weekends in a row. Watch them in close succession, because it's wild. But through it all, I think the premise of The Shining creeps me out to such a degree that I actually still do find the 1997 version kind of unsettling. The Room 237 bit from the 1997 version is still really fucking creepy. Like, it's totally different. It's not Jack in Room 237, it's Danny. But it's really, really unsettling. So I can make fun of it all I want, but that bit did actually scare me. I was like, well, fuck, I'm going to have nightmares tonight.
I was thinking about it more after a conversation last week, and I tried to think, it was like, what is my favourite Stephen King thing? And I forgot all about Carrie.
Carrie's great.
Yeah,
Carrie's fantastic. Did you watch the remake with Chloe Grace Moretz?
No.
I saw it in the cinema because I think I have a weird problem with Stephen King.
Yeah, I think you do.
It's pretty bad, but there's some really, really funny stuff in there.
No.
We're like, I didn't know that they could make self-harm a gag, but they did.
Oh my god, Jesus.
It's so dumb.
Can I tell you my only thought that I remember from the remake?
Yeah, go on.
There's a bit in it where they write Carrie White eats shit on her locker, and I remember thinking they should have wrote Carrie White eats shite.
That's such an Irish way of thinking.
I know, but that's the only thought that has survived the years since I saw that movie. I couldn't tell you. I know it has Hit Girl in it, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's a bit in the remake of Carrie where one of the bully girls dies in a car accident, but they have like 3D modeled her face slowly going through like the windshield, and it's so highly rendered and so gratuitous. You'd love it, Niamh.
That's so gratuitous. I would not love it.
Niamh, you're always linking us like, guys, check out what I found on Rotten.com.
Yeah. It looks so bad. And Julianne Moore is a really good actor, and she doesn't deserve this.
Oh my god, Julianne Moore picks the weirdest fucking projects.
Still Alice. She's still Alice, everyone. God.
Okay, guys. I think that's enough film and entertainment talk.
But that's everyone's favorite bit. You can turn off the podcast now because here's our next bit.
Yeah, time to lose a third of our listeners. But let's talk about some video games. Let's talk about Resident Evil. The movies! It's President Evil!
From the leading name in biotechnology, comes Regenerate, the breakthrough from the Umbrella Corporation.
Resident Evil.
So this week on President Evil, I have watched Resident Evil Afterlife. This is the 4th movie in the series.
Yeah, 4th movie, 2010. This is when they're not movies anymore. Do you get what I mean?
So I was really intrigued by your little snippet at the end of the last Resident Evil discussion where it was like they aren't movies anymore. I get what you mean now. They are so weird.
Can I read the synopsis?
Go for it.
The film follows Alice searching for and rescuing the remaining survivors in Los Angeles after the T-virus outbreak, and teaming up against Albert Wesker, the head of the Umbrella Corporation. Chris Redfield, a primary character from the video games, was featured for the first time in the film franchise. Other characters from the games and films who are returned are Claire Redfield, Chris's sister, who has lost her memory prior to the film's events, Albert Wesker, the film's main antagonist, and our girl, Jill Valentine, who made a cameo appearance.
So, this was...
Sorry, everyone's ears. It's the best one.
Oh, I mean...
John, do you like The Matrix?
I really like this movie. It was good. I had a great time. It's baffling. What a fucking weird movie. Alice's shotgun keeps shooting coins. There's a bunch of... I'm kind of having trouble, forming my thoughts here.
It opens in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And there is a...
Which is what Resident Evil is made, guys.
There is an Umbrella facility there that Alice infiltrates and fucking murders the shit out of everyone with her clones, and you realize how she's just OP now. She's just so overpowered.
Her psychic clones, her psychic Tetsuo clones.
Who just kind of get killed throughout it that she doesn't really mind, so you don't even know, is it really the original Alice? And what makes the original Alice different from the clones? Who gives a fuck? Who cares? At this stage.
Well, one has slightly more styled hair than the others.
That's true. This is the one where Wesker has a bigger role in it.
Yes, he does. My boy, Albert Wesker.
He's the best character.
The great... do you want to just say it? The greatest fictional antagonist of all time. Specifically in this movie, not in the games.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy... that's the weird fight scene with Albert Wesker?
Yeah. I very much enjoyed every scene with Albert Wesker. I thought that casting was great.
I know, that man looks like he has marbles in his mouth all the time. His jaw is really wide.
And the guy from Prison Break plays Chris Redfield.
Wentworth Miller, which I think is good casting for a young Chris Redfield, but he's not buff enough for a Resident Evil 5.
Yeah,
Chris Redfield.
Jill Valentine in the second film, she was Jill Valentine. There was no question in my mind. This guy was like, really? Chris Redfield? The steroid hunk Chris Redfield.
Mm-hmm.
But man, there's so much shit in this movie. I was watching it, and there's a bit where Albert Wesker is flying a plane, and Alice sneaks up behind him, and they have a fight. And I made some stupid fucking joke oh, who's flying the plane, Wesker? Then the fucking plane crashes because no one's flying it, and Albert Wesker, who's meant to be this genius, is oh shit. And I was really entertained the whole movie. I really liked the fight with the axe guy. I thought that there's a girl in it, Crystal, and she's in it for a minute, and she's super cute, but then she dies. Aww. I'm sorry if I just spoiled it, but dude, if you're someone who gets annoyed for Resident Evil Afterlife spoilers, you got bigger problems than that.
Dude, you
7
gotta
years
get laid.
old, and literally anyone who becomes friends with Alice who isn't a named character from the Resident Evil series is dead. They're dead. They're so dead. They will never live.
I was getting pretty pissed towards the end though, because I was like, I thought Jill Valentine was in this movie, and then I see her name in the credits, and I'm like, where the fuck is Jill Valentine? But then it's a post-credit stinger, but it's blonde RE5 Jill Valentine.
I know, it's redesigned. You see, this movie came out after the release of RE5, so they worked in all of RE5 stuff. That fight with Wesker,
they worked in Matrix Wesker.
Yeah, Matrix Wesker has the same dialogue, except the different people fighting him, and the glasses throwing scene is in both the game and the movie. The Axeman is from RE5.
Yeah. That glasses throwing scene, that happened, and Michelle was like, what?
What's wrong, Michelle? You're just watching cool stuff.
It's a great movie.
You're watching art. Oh my god. Who don't understand?
It's so funny. There's some great moments in it. I think the Claire Redfield fight with the Axeman in the kind of like bathroom.
Oh, that was awesome. That was cool.
Is so good. The Wesker fight is like one of the most iconic fights from the movies ever. There's a bit when the helicopter is flying through like a sea of zombies and just kind of leaving a patch of blood. That
happened, and I literally screamed, yeah!
It's such a like direct Dead Rising moment or some shit.
Okay. I think on the podcast Twitter I'll link the fight again. The Wesker fight. I think everyone needs to see this fight. It's really, really important.
It's an important movie. I'm really kicking myself here because there's an Albert Wesker line that I absolutely loved. He had the most amazing one-liner, and I'm completely blanking on it. But I might record myself talking about it and send it to Niamh after the fact where she can edit it in here.
Hey guys, Future John here. Okay, so it's towards the end of the film, and Wesker is sitting on his weird science throne, and he's facing Alice, and Alice is all like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, Wesker, whatever. And then Chris and Claire Redfield come bursting in, and she's like, I brought some friends. And then his eyes turn glowing red, and he looks at her and just says, should have brought more. And then beats the shit out of them, and it's awesome. Back to my colleagues in the past.
Seamless.
That's right, Future John, because I'm future, but it's going to be past when we listen. Whew. Time travel, guys.
Yeah. I think the runtime of that movie would be literally half if they cut out all the slow motion.
Oh my god, there was so much slow motion.
All the stuff that had no dialogue was considered for slow motion.
There was just like, this is the first one I think they did in 3D. So there's so many shots where they're like aiming like shit at the camera, and there's so much slow motion. Like every scene you see her jump again from another angle, but slow motion. It's pretty good.
I liked LeBron.
Yeah.
He was, fuck, that's a beautiful man.
I like when he's just like, hey, do you like sports? And she's like, yeah, kind of. And he's like, do you like basketball? And she's like, no. And he's like, oh.
And then he's like, what about luxury timepieces? And it pans over to the billboard of him, like, and he has a watch on.
So what happens in this movie is there's still some survivors left. Is it LA? Can't remember where this is set. There's still some survivors left over in the city, and Claire is trying to gather them all in a prison. And the plan is to find a safe haven in Arcadia in Alaska, and they have a plane to get there. That's pretty much the premise, is them getting through this prison, so they're locked down into this building with the one goal of finally getting to Alaska. I like how with the last film it was like, everyone's dead, it's all a desert wasteland, and with this film it was just like, well, actually that wasn't true.
No,
that never happened.
We ran the numbers again, and good news, guys. So, okay, we need to rank this movie. We need to put it in the pantheon of Resident Evil.
Yep.
So, I'm going to award this movie a 4 out of 5.
Seriously?
What?
Yep.
You prefer Resident Evil 2 still?
Yep.
But this
I agree that Resident Evil 2 should be up there. I just didn't think this would get 4.
I mean, there was parts where...
This is a 5 out of 5 film.
No.
It is.
No.
Brian, this is no Resident Evil Apocalypse, okay?
It's better.
No, Brian, it's not.
It's not better,
it's barely
Brian.
A film. It's
Brian, I feel like if you're not going to take this section seriously, you need to be quiet.
Oh, I'm taking it dead fucking seriously. Wesker's got a snake in his mouth. a weird thing.
So I'm gonna take marks. Okay, so I think as a base level film, I gotta give it 3 out of 5. Then I gotta add 2 points for Wesker, 5 out of 5. Then I gotta add 2 points for Jill, 7 out of 5. Then I gotta knock 2 points off for Jill because it was just a cameo at the end of the movie. But then I gotta knock another point off because it's blonde Ori 5 Jill.
Yeah.
So it's like Brian, I'm not trying to be controversial, but when you run the numbers, it's a 4 out of 5.
It's true.
I
No
thought
one
she-
likes blonde Jill.
I
Blonde
thought she
Jill
was
sucked.
cool in Resident Evil 5.
I mean, have you seen her in Ori 3?
Yeah, but I thought she was cool in Resident Evil 5.
I hate the fucking Jill redesign. They went, hey, you know Nina Williams?
If I recall,
let's make
Niamh,
her
and
that.
this was before
Yeah.
I knew you properly, you did a multi-page blog post about how much you hated blonde Ori 5.
I did, and I used it as like there was a podcast called Epic Battle Axe Podcast, and you needed to kind of give a bit of writing that you used about video games to get into it. That was my piece. How much I fucking hate RE5 Jill Valentine. Because it's just Nina Williams. It's just her.
Yeah.
It's such a bad fucking redesign. It's a purple bodysuit, and now she's blonde and long hair. It's like, ugh.
Man,
It's not a bodysuit,
I
it's
would-
a catsuit.
Nina Williams was so cool when she had that just like going for cocktails with the girls outfit.
Yeah.
I love Nina. We don't need to.
So okay, so I'm gonna let's put this on the ranking chart. Put this to bed, okay? So the number 4 greatest Resident Evil movie of all time, Resident Evil 1. The number 3, Resident Evil Retribution. I think Afterlife is better than Retribution.
Okay, so you've watched Resident Evil Apocalypse, Resident Evil Extinction.
Extinction is
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Not
Retribution is the next one.
Yeah, okay. So it is better than Extinction. I think this I enjoyed this film more than the Mad Max take.
Okay.
But the undisputed champion for me is still Resident Evil Apocalypse. That film is cinematic perfection.
I agree.
So what can I expect from Resident Evil Retribution, the next...
This is Ada Wong.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the biggest Ada Wong fan, but I do think she's cool.
And this, like, it doubles up on bosses, which can be good and bad.
Oh, I like the boss fights a lot.
I feel like, for me, this is the weakest of the next 3.
Jesus Christ. How many of these fucking movies are there?
Like, I break them up into the first 3 being actual real movies trying something, and the next 3 being kind of like these weird movies trying something. I feel like this is the weakest for me, but I also haven't seen it since it's been released. So I'm going to rewatch it with you, and we'll see the next time we come back. But my memory is Ada Wong, literally double the bosses.
So they put Ada Wong in a movie before they put Leon Kennedy in.
Leon Kennedy never shows up.
He's
never
the
has.
coolest Resident
I
Evil
know,
character.
I know. But to be honest, I'm kind of like, I don't even know who they'd get to play him. So maybe it's better they keep it.
Yeah, like
Get John to play him.
Have
Or
you-
you.
Yeah, I could play it good.
You can play Leon.
No, oh my
could
god,
not.
Sawyer from Lost.
Yeah.
He's the sexy guy from
You know
Lost.
what? Dave Franco.
I
Get
feel
Dave
like-
Franco to play Leon.
I feel like Sawyer is like, people always get mad when I say this about people, but I genuinely mean it in a complimentary way. I feel like Sawyer is ugly sexy.
Yeah.
Leon is the most pretty gorgeous man.
Okay.
Then we should get
But it's someone who can pull off a boy band haircut, which is hard.
Ryan Gosling as the
Oh.
Leon
Ooh,
Kennedy.
no, he does not have that effeminate kind of spark you
Yeah,
need for
yeah.
Leon.
We'll slim him down.
No, it's not about weight.
Okay,
It's-
okay,
You
okay.
need a like a kind.
Sarah Paulson as Leon Kennedy.
She could pull it off. She's an amazing actress. She has so much range.
Sarah Paulson.
Yeah, for American Heart, we were just talking about.
Oh shit! Okay, I forgot.
Like
I
literally
forgot.
20 minutes talking about Sarah Paulson. John.
Okay, so guys, for people who are new, this is what it's like to talk to John all the time.
That's so mean.
John's a special dude.
Look, my brain doesn't.
John's brain, everyone.
Strategy talk.
So we all just went to the bathroom. We all had to do a quick purge because of the wine.
I didn't. I'm fine.
John's keeping it in. He's not ready yet. He's got some stuff to say.
Niamh, you finished Hellblade.
I did.
Okay.
Senua's sacrifice.
I really wish I had nice things to say about this game.
Shit.
I really don't. I continued playing it, and it's boring. Like, it's the greatest sin a game can have. It's not enjoyable to play in any capacity. There's more of that stupid rune puzzles where you find a rune in the environment, but some of them are timed with an insta-kill. Like, there's a monster chasing you while you're trying to find 3 of these puzzles.
Oh, I hate that stuff.
And
It's so frustrating.
It was just so frustrating and boring. The story isn't really there. Like, it's told to you by the voices. There's other kind of background stuff. If you like Norse mythology and stuff, it could be cool. But you activate a rune stone, and then like this really dramatic voice tells you a little bit of story stuff. Not about your story, but just kind of Norse story. That's kind of tangentially related. He's like, you remind me of this warrior kind of thing. But if you travel away from the stone, the voice peters out. So you have to stand by the stone to hear it. And it's just like, God, there's nothing fucking happening. I want to move through it. So, like, pros of this game. Animation is beautiful. Like, I love her sidestep. It's really cool. I like some of the fighting animations. It looks gorgeous. The voice acting is great, and the character motion capture is great.
Character design's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the character design's cool.
Yeah, I like her face paint.
Yeah, it's like, that kind of stuff is great. Cons. Rune environmental puzzles, which is probably the majority of this game. Like, it really is. They're not fun. They suck. I hate them. They're the worst. The story is barely existent. Like, you kind of get why you're there. You're trying to find the soul of your beloved Dillion. But it's like, it's very tangential. You kind of learn more about Senua and her mental illness. Her father kind of kept her in this hole because of her darkness, which was her illness. You realize her mother had the same mental illness and was probably killed because of it. But it's like, again, it's not compelling the way it's told at all. The worst part of it is the live action. Jesus Christ. Every moment where it's meant to be important, they put a live action character. For the only character who's modeled is Senua. Every other character is a live action model, like is a live action person. And there's this scene where Senua finally meets Dillion, and she's lying down on the ground, and she is bloodied, she is matted, she's in her warrior leathers, and it's just this clean-shaven dude, like this, who's not wearing a shirt, this topless guy who's resting his kind of head in his arm, and it's kind of him mirrored her pose, and he's kind of like, oh, Senua, and it just looks like this dude kind of hanging out on a couch. And even on his arm, it kind of, like, you can see the semblance of a tattoo. Like, they didn't bother to remove this guy's real-life tattoo. And he kind of, what makes it even funnier for me is he looks like Alan Wake a little bit. Like, he's this clean-shaven guy who doesn't look like a warrior like Senua. And it's superimposed over the footage of her, and it looks stupid. Took me right out of it, 100%. And I guess they did it to, like, save on costs, because it's easier to film a topless guy on the floor than make a model. But
is it, I wonder?
I don't know. It was obvious, and it was weird, and it wasn't fun. I was playing it in a room with my housemate, and he was like, ugh. And I was like, ugh. like we weren't listening to the story in that moment because it was so visually jarring. Like, none of it matched up, like, at all. The fighting was probably the most entertained I was, but that got kind of cheap. I kept dying in this section where it was a very small room, and the best way to get away from an attack is to roll. You can't roll in a room, and they kept spawning more and more difficult monsters.
Right.
Wasn't fun, got through it. The end battle, you're just super powerful for some reason, because you're angry. And you just won't die. It's the same type of fighting style, but you can take people down faster, and when you take damage, you won't die. And it didn't even feel like I was stronger. It just felt like the game was weirdly broken. So everything I've known up until this stage kind of didn't matter. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know. It didn't leave a lasting impression on me. And it's sad because, like, there's some stuff that does really great. Like, the visuals are strikingly realistic. Like, really impressive. And I wish I could see that in another game. It's just super linear as well. There's no reason to look at the environments because it's just a hallway that you walk through.
Yeah.
There's even a cool bit where there's hands coming out of like the wall, but you're not meant to stop and look at them, because if you stop and look at them, you realize it's just like really badly superimposed over it. They're not actually coming out of the wall.
Okay.
And they can't grab you and they can't do anything. It's just like, it looks cool as you're moving quickly through it.
So like this game's been touted, they have that indie AAA kind of tagline. Do you think your problems from it stem from kind of like design decisions or like financial limitation? Like, could this have been... Yeah, like I think you could make a more interesting environment and stuff to look at, and I think they chose not to. They kind of funnel you through, and I think literally give me this game without the rune puzzle thing. It would be like 4 hours shorter, but I'd probably enjoy it more. That sounds good to me.
Yeah, but then they probably couldn't tag on €30 to it,
Yeah.
It would be a €10 game then.
That's a real shame, because I'm a big advocate of like, I want 20 or 30 euro games to be a thing.
Same. Like, I really like this kind of mid-tier experience, and I really enjoyed it during the PlayStation 2 and 360 era.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is the poster child for it. Like, I don't think this is a great game.
It's funny, because I may have a game that could be the poster child for the 20 or 30 euro game. I played a bunch of Echoes.
Yeah?
Yep. And...
It's on PC.
It's on PC. It's going to be out PS4, I think, very soon, in October sometime. But Echoes is a game... I think what's so impressive about it is how they've kind of worked with their limitations, but they've worked it into the actual story of the game. And the whole idea behind it is you have enemies that learn from your behavior. And it's really interesting how this breaks down, because what you're in this giant... It's called a palace, but it's like a sci-fi game. So it's this giant sci-fi palace, and it's
all clean, white, pristine.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's really, really cool. And like the first nearly hour of the game is you walking in this giant, perfectly symmetrical environment. And it's like, it's so beautiful, but because it's so symmetrical and so pristine, you're like, a machine made this. And the whole thing about the palace is no human has ever been there. And that's what it looks like. There's no sign that a human has been there. And it makes it feel really amazing and alien. And like, it's gorgeous. Like, it's some of the nicest environment design I've seen in so long. And there's this really great moments where like you're walking along and you're literally walking through here for like 40 minutes, and it's just kind of like dialogue back and forth between your main character N and her kind of computer companion, and the voice acting is really good, the writing's really good. And then you come across this little piece of organic matter in the middle of a hallway, and it's like, whoa! Because you're so used to seeing everything like just so pristine, and this little like pulsating piece of like black glob. And it's a really, really cool moment. Like, it's a really effective, not scare, but it unsettles you. Mm-hmm. And so what eventually ends up happening is this place, the palace, ends up copying you and placing clones of you everywhere who are all out to stop you. But the most interesting thing is like, the palace runs in cycles. It has like a light cycle, a dark cycle, and then it reboots. And this happens in 3 minutes increments as you're playing. And so your clones are everywhere all the time during these. But with the light cycle, whatever actions you perform in the light cycle, you'll see this little like after image. And so then all your clones will learn that action in the next cycle. So it's... How can I put this? So like, the section a lot of people are talking about is like, there's this section where like there's all this water everywhere, and there's like tons of your clone in this room, and when your clones see, like, your clones all have like patrol routes, and when they see you, they just run at you and try and strangle you to death. And it's pretty unsettling.
That's terrifying.
It is, yeah. But none of them can get to you because none of them know that they're all like on islands in the water, even though the water is like ankle deep. And so you can walk through this section, but to do that, you have to walk through the water. And as you're walking through the water, like, they're all just watching you. But then it goes dark, and then another cycle starts. And when the other cycle starts and it goes light again, they've all learned to walk in the water. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
But that same principle applies to every action you can perform. If you shoot your gun in the next cycle, the clones can all shoot their gun. If you vault over a table, the clones can vault over a table. I stealth killed a clone, and in the next cycle, a clone stealth killed me.
So does that make you want to play in a certain way?
It makes you want to play in a very conservative way.
Yeah.
But the thing is, your clones don't permanently remember all your actions. Each cycle, they only remember your actions from the previous cycle.
Okay.
But it's really interesting because that means, like, you're like, okay, I can shoot my gun and that'll get me out of this situation, but that means the next cycle, they're all going to be shooting their guns.
What happens if you decide that I can dodge a bullet, but that's easier to do than a stealth kill, so you never play stealth? You know what I mean? Because it's harder to see someone sneak up behind you than it is to see someone shoot at you. Would you do that, or are they very accurate with their shooting?
I would definitely go for a stealth kill more than I would shoot, because but the thing is, okay, say during the dark cycle, so it goes light cycle, dark cycle, light cycle, any action you perform in the dark cycle, they won't learn.
Okay.
But the problem is the dark cycle's fucking dark, and you can only see a couple of feet in front of you. And it's really tense. But it leads to all these really, really interesting situations where you're like, oh fuck, like, if I open this door and close it behind me, I'll get away from all these clones chasing me. But then in the next cycle, they're going to know how to do that. And so it's going to become way harder. And so it's like, it's this weird resource management where the resource management is your gameplay mechanics.
That's cool. That's
It's
really cool.
really cool. And like, it leads to all these situations where like, I was like 40 meters away from my goal. And I was like, okay, I only have to get 40 meters and grab this thing, and then I can go up to the next floor and I won't have to worry about these clones. But if I fuck this up, so that means I'm going to sprint, I'm going to vault over stuff, I'm going to shoot clones, I'm going to bash them over the heads with all these objects. But if I fuck this up and don't get where I want to go by the next cycle, they're going to have learned every one of these actions, and that's it. Like, I'm dead. And so it leads to these really, really interesting gameplay situations where you're really trying to like balance your actions versus their future consequences. And it's really creepy. Like, it's really unsettling in a way. Because like, there was a bit, you can do this thing where you can pick up these orbs of light, or I think they're like orbs of wine or something, and bash a clone over the head with them. And if you do that, it's a really quick kill. And they're not easy to kill, the clones. Anything you do takes a couple of seconds. But if you bash them with this orb, it kills them immediately. And so I did that. But then in the next round, a bunch of the clones had orbs. And so there was a bit where I went in a door, I opened it, and there was a clone on the other side with an orb and just smashed it over my head and killed me straight away. And it was really cool. It's a really cool game. Really, really good. I'm about 4 hours into it, and I think it's about a 6-hour game, and it's 20 quid. I'd really, really recommend people take a look at this. It's one of those games where it's like, man, I've never seen this done before.
Would you describe it as hard?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a hard game, but I never felt like I never felt like it was unfair. Okay. Like, I always felt like, well, that's what I get for teaching these clones how to sprint and strangle me and shoot things.
Can you get through this game non-lethal? Is that possible?
Yeah, can you go pacifist the whole way?
I think you could potentially, because like, you can also push the clones over. Oh man, there's such a good sequence where like, you're walking through all these halls, and each hall you go through, the clones are developing. So at first they're like just the little black globs on the ground, and then they're like walking all shitty, and then they start running, and you're like, oh god.
That's terrifying.
It is terrifying. But what's really terrifying is when you teach them to sprint. Because like, you can sprint in the game really fast, and then if you teach them to sprint, the next round they will just fucking beeline it to you.
So if you teach them to sprint, but you haven't taught them how to kill you, how do they kill you?
They always have a baseline strangle attack.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's terrifying that their baseline attack is to strangle you.
And like, when it goes real close up when they start strangling you, and they look so angry.
And it's your face. Like, it's
your
character
face. Yeah.
Okay.
Can't believe you did that.
That's cool. That's really cool. I like that idea.
I think like, even if you're not into horror or you're not into sci-fi, but you are into game design, I think this is going to be a game that people. I don't think the game's going to be incredibly successful. Like it's obviously by a small team. The animation's quite stiff. You know, there's one character model in the entire game, and it's you. And then like I think the environments are beautiful and incredible, but like you can see that it's very limited in a way, and it's limited in a way I think that works for it. But there is all these things where it's like a small team made this game. And like I think some more stealth mechanics would be good. You can't really like duck behind cover or anything. It's just it's quite loose.
I like the idea of the limitations the team worked with becoming the gameplay. Like everything being so symmetrical. All you have to do is design one side of a environment and flip it. You know, that's the positive aspect of symmetry. And then with only one character model and you having to deal with clones, like it's really cool that the limitations become the gameplay, become the game.
Yeah.
You know, that's a neat idea. I really like that.
I'm going to be interested to see, because they've done this thing where it's like, you know, it's the limitations, it's the character, it's the enemies learning from you, all that stuff, and it works perfectly. It works really, really good. If they can put one more twist in this gameplay, like if they can surprise me one more time, then I'll probably be at the level where I'm like, this game's fucking amazing. Right now, I just think it's very, very good. Okay. And I think if you're interested in game design at all, this is one of those games where I think it will probably ripple out into a much bigger game at some points. But it's really, really impressive, and I enjoy it a lot.
Cool.
Yeah. And the voice acting is great. Voice acting is really good. Main character N, super endearing. Really, really cool.
I'm going to wait until PS4, but that's awesome.
Hopefully you shouldn't have to wait long.
Yeah. I heard it was like a few weeks after release they wanted it, so
yeah. But I really think you'd enjoy it. I think you could possibly enjoy it. Well, I think some of the gameplay stuff might annoy you though.
Okay, I might watch you play it.
You can do that.
I'll watch you. I like watching.
You'll have to come in. I have it on my PC, so I'd have to play it in my spare room.
Okay.
That's super interesting tidbit for the listeners.
Yeah, I like that bed.
Yeah,
as we all know.
Brian, you played Metroid Samus Returns, is that it?
Yeah, I played it and beat it.
How's that?
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm so glad there's a Metroid game and it's out and it's good. This is a remake of Metroid 2 Samus Returns for the Game Boy. A game that I played and I absolutely hate. It's a
really?
Really, yeah.
Samus Returns, that's a shit game.
Yeah.
I think, personally, 50% of the Metroid games that have been released are bad.
Wow, you're such a Metroid fan.
I'm such a Metroid fan of the good half.
I don't know, because like you have Super Metroid, you have Metroid Fusion, you have the Metroid Primes. Are there five bad Metroid games?
Yeah. Original Metroid, Metroid 2.
Ooh.
Original Metroid's a shit game.
I don't know anything about this, but I feel like that's controversial.
It is, but like, go back and play it and have a good time. Convince yourself that it's good. It's not a good game. It's a shitty game that's aged very, very poorly. Like, fucking Mario Brothers has aged better than it.
Mario Brothers hasn't aged. It's great.
Yeah, Metroid has aged. It is not a joy to play. Metroid Prime 3 is a shit game.
Wow, I didn't know you thought that.
It's a shit game. It's the weakest of the Metroid Primes. Metroid Prime, the one made by Team Ninja. Other M. That's a shit game.
Okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, Super Metroid.
Fucking bullshit.
Is amazing. Metroid Fusion is my favorite Metroid game. Metroid Fusion is very, very polarizing because that game is super linear, where you have to like.
Oh, I think that game's fantastic.
It'll tell you like a dot, and it tells you go to this dot. You can only go to this dot because all the other doors are closed off. But the story is fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
Metroid Samus Returns is much closer to Super Metroid, where you can explore the game at your own pace. You could beat the game in under 3 hours, but I think it took me 12 hours to beat this game.
Oh wow!
Because I collected 100% of the items.
All the Metroid, like all the Metroid-esque Metroids are kind of like that, though. You could beat them super quick.
Yeah. I took my time with this game. You can beat
Dark Souls super quick.
Yeah. So the core of this game is that you have to hunt down 40 Metroids and kill them. Because they're a dangerous species on planet SR388, and you have to take them down. And the way the Metroids are done is that they're kind of like insects where they have like different stages. So you can fight them as larvae, which is the iconic Metroid. But then there's different levels of like Omega Metroids, Alpha Metroids. And then there's like Metroid Queen, which is one of the later Metroids. But what they've done with the remake is they've added in some extra boss battles because the Metroid boss battles can get kind of repetitive. So they've added in some extra stuff that kind of flows really, really, really nicely into the game. It's a shame it's on the 3DS and it looks like it was made 5 years ago. It's not a pretty looking game.
Yeah, the sort of rudimentary 3D look put me off a bit.
It's incredibly ugly. It took me...
Jesus.
Yeah, it took me a couple hours to get into the game. When I first started playing it, I was like, this looks so bad. This should be sprite animation.
Yeah.
It's not an attractive looking game. And it does the thing where at the start you're playing as a really, really shitty version of Samus, where you're super weak, you're not streamlined in any capacity, but by the end of that game, you could just, like, shine spark your way through the entire... You just power through it.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying, and it's all done in a gameplay flow where you feel you've earned all these abilities, because some of the battles are pretty tricky. When I beat the game, I was surprised to see the amount of Spanish names in it. I didn't know the game was made in Spain.
That's cool.
It was made by the guys who made the Castlevania Lord of Shadow games.
Are they... Which ones
Are
are
they the
they?
3D ones?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently...
Oh, no. They made a 2D playing 3D Castlevania game.
Yeah. But no, they've also made games for the PS3 and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I think the studio that did this one definitely did that one. I don't think they did the character action games.
No, but they've always wanted to do a Metroid game, and they pitched to Nintendo saying that they'd like to make an original game, but they were just given the opportunity to do a remake of the Game Boy game, and I think they did it justice. Like, they did a really, really, really good job.
Hopefully they get the chance to make an original one now.
Yeah, it was a very, very small staff.
Lot of love.
Yeah, a lot of love. There's some great kind of Metroid tropes that they kind of play into super well. Some stuff that they kind of forgot to do, which I'm kind of a bit annoyed with them, because they should have known if they were fans.
Like what?
If you beat the game in under 3 hours, you should get a certain image. You do not get that image. That's part of, like...
Metroid fans will know.
Oh, yeah. I think only Metroid fans will get this. They have her death animation perfect, which is really, really good. Where she dies and the suit explodes, and you actually see like Samus outside. You know, like the human Samus, which I really like seeing, because you just see this. You know, that you kind of forget that there's a human underneath that.
Yeah.
I really, really like whenever that happens, because I don't think that happened until Super Metroid, the third game, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, she's just a person.
What made you pick this up if you hated the second game? Was it just curiosity to see if it was better?
I want to support the franchise.
Ah, okay.
I love Metroid.
You gotta support your boys.
Yeah, there was a Metroid game came out last year that I voted with my money to absolutely refuse to buy, because that was...
I bought that.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't have bought that.
Which one was it?
Metroid Kitty Shooter.
Metroid Federation Force. I heard Brian wasn't going to buy it, and so I decided to cancel that out by buying it. I've never played it.
He's bought it, yeah. John loves that game.
I didn't actually buy it.
No. Metroid Prime Federation Forces, they had a game, and then they were like, that kind of looks like a sci-fi shooter, so they slapped a Metroid title on top to make more money off it.
Oh, okay.
It's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And this game's really weird, because they only announced it at E3 in June, and they said, oh, it's out in 3 months' time in September. And nobody knew about the existence of this game up until that point, and even the Spanish studio, because I was reading up afterwards, were in complete denial about it, because they were under like very, very strict NDAs.
Nintendo and their NDAs, they're crazy.
Yeah, they're very, very good at keeping a secret, which is very hard these days. But I guess the previous summer they had AM2R, which is a PC game, which is they used the Metroid Zero Mission engine, but they did a remake of Metroid 2. So it looks sort of like Super Metroid.
You've played that as well, haven't you?
No, it's only on PC. I can't play it. I'd love to play it.
I think I might play that.
But within like 24 hours of that game coming out, like Nintendo did a cease and desist. Like, you can't make a fan game of Metroid. Mm-hmm. It's so weird because, like...
Yet they can and did.
Yeah, but I guess that kind of leads into Sonic Mania.
Yeah, I played Sonic Mania, and I played a bunch of Sonic Mania. I've beaten that game, and man, that's a good game. I think like it had been so long since a Sonic game came out that anyone was willing to get behind. Like, and I know there's ones that have gone down relatively well, like Colors and Generations, but the kind of sentiment I heard for like a lot of people was like, maybe no one's made a good Sonic game because Sonic was never that good in the first place, which I didn't really know how I felt because I haven't gone back and revisited the series in a long time. But after playing Sonic Mania, I think that's not true at all. I think there is totally a way to do a Sonic game, and this is it. It was a really great game in a time where I just needed a fun experience to go with. Niamh, you also bought this game.
I think both of us have come to the conclusion that some people are naturally good at Sonic and some people suck ass at Sonic.
This is fucking weird because like I've heard a lot of people say like this game is so difficult and like they just can't do it.
I'm that person. I was just like I don't like Nintendo because I grew up with Sega. So that's my nostalgia. And I was like, I can't wait to play these levels again but have the knowledge and power of an adult. And then I bought Sonic Mania and I suck so much ass at it. Like, so much so that I'm like, do I even know how to play games? Is Destiny just, like, a fucking, like, auto-aim bot? Like, you know what I mean?
Well, yes, but...
It's just like, do I know what I'm doing at all? I'm so bad at this game.
And I've heard a lot of people say that. And, like, I'm shocked because, like, I got to... Like, I'm not very good at games, honestly. Like, I'm pretty okay at fighting games. Anything else, I have the same terrible coordination I have in real life. And I beat this game with maybe 3 or 4 game overs max. Like
that's insane to me. I can't get through a level, like a zone, without like dying like
the boss battles are so hard.
Really, I don't like. I think there was one boss that killed me in the entire game.
I suck.
But some of them are so hard to read against the backgrounds.
I know the one you're talking about. That is actually just a kind of badly designed one. But I flew through this game. Like, I beat it in 3 or 4 sittings.
Did any level give you trouble? Like, which...
No.
Okay. Because Chemical Plant Zone, like, I was like, can't wait to show Chemical Plant Zone his boss.
The bit with the rotating platform is so hard.
Holy shit. And I'm like, I'm really bad. I've really bad rhythm. Like, maybe that's it. Because you've got good rhythm. But, like... He's
very good at dancing to the American Horror Story.
Like, yeah. John's a good dancer. I can't. And I was just like, my timing is just off. I just can't do it to the point where I'm just like, I hate Sonic and I don't want to look at his stupid little face anymore.
Wow, because like
Sonic.
But I love Sonic. I love the design of Sonic, but I can't play the game, and I feel like a fake fan if I can't get through a fucking game. You know?
I don't know what it is, because like I did play a lot of Sonic when I was young. My cousin had a Mega Drive, and then I also. I went to like a minder after school and she'd just sit me in front of a Mega Drive and just play Sonic 1 over and over. And so maybe that's it. But yeah, this game was like a casual, fun walk in the park for me.
That's insane. To me, it was like, this is hard. This is harder than Hellblade. I hate this.
Wow.
And this was made by like fan modders.
Yeah, this was produced by like people who have been in the Sonic fan community. Christian Whitehead. Mm-hmm. And he's just been in the Sonic fan community forever.
I think it's so cool that Sega like respond to this the right way.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you can make a better game than we can. Here's some money.
I nearly feel like there's an element of like, well, look, why don't you make a fucking game and see how it goes? It's like, it's gone really well. Mm-hmm. I hope it outsells Sonic Forces. I don't think it will because of the character creator.
I heard that the character creator is way more limited than people thought it was going to be.
Oh, I'll bet, but I think all they need to say is Sonic character creator and people will buy it.
Fair.
But this is, you know what this is, Niamh? This is like that time we all got Dark Souls 3 and the first boss repeatedly kicked my ass over and over despite the fact I beat every Dark Souls games up to this point and you were like, yeah, I beat him, he's easy.
Yeah, he wasn't hard.
That killed me.
I don't know, it's so weird. It's so weird what you'll rub up against in gaming that you'll find difficult. And like Sonic is just... like my Mount Everest.
I'm kind of like I'm on like autopilot when I play Sonic Mania.
Not at all. Absolutely not at all. I'm stopping, I'm starting, I'm dying, there's no coins, it's stressful, he's drowning.
You gotta go fast.
I just think there's actually a natural knack to it that I do not possess. And I've learned never to buy a Genesis-esque Sonic because I'm not going to have fun.
I really wish Nintendo would do this treatment to a Mario game. Like, come up with like a Super Mario Brothers 4 or 5 or something.
They have to just let a fan make it.
Yeah.
And not, like, squash them.
I'd love to see what, like, a new Mario sprite looks like.
Has he got nipples?
He better.
He better have nipples and he better have a belly button.
I think his swim trunks are just very high.
Yeah, me too.
Niamh, you got 80 seconds to talk about Destiny 2.
I have my light level, power level up to 265. I've finished the story and I'm playing a lot of Crucible. I'm still having a fun time, but I have started putting on podcasts. Still good, addictive Destiny. And a few people have been asking to play with me, and if you want to play with me, you can find my PSN on
you can fuck off
on my Twitter, and you can find my Twitter through the Let's Fight a Boss Twitter. So you gotta jump through like 2 very small hoops. And if you want to carry my ass through a Nightfall, you can.
Niamh, what's a Nightfall?
Nightfall is like a strike, but harder.
What's a strike?
A strike is literally a mission where you go through a fire team, 3 people, so you have to kind of have 3 people in your team.
Okay.
You won't be paired with them. And you, for the Nightfall anyway, and you just go through it, and at the end you get legendary gear.
Okay. So someone really tried to convince me to play Destiny recently. And so I decided to do a little looking up about Destiny to see if it was for me. I definitely don't think it's for me. Niamh, is the light the Force?
Fuck no.
Really? Because it really fucking sounds like the Force.
I guess. Like, I really wouldn't want to give it that. Like, I like Star Wars too much to ever equate the two. Like, yeah, I guess it is. It's kind of this mystical force that guides you. But the Force is spit out by the Traveler. And the Force in Star Wars is this kind of innate thing, not midichlorians. That's whatever. Don't even think about that.
No way.
It's like this innate thing that like people have, specifically maybe a bloodline might have, or like it's stronger if it's in a bloodline, like all the Skywalkers have it, for example. Where the light in Destiny, the Traveler appeared, went dark. When it was going to go dark and all of humanity died, it spit out its light, which meant the ghosts, and then the ghost chose like, I don't know, a corpse, and was just like, I'll give you my light, and reanimated the person. So it's kind of like a weird little necromancer orb.
Niamh, what's the Traveler? What's the giant orb in the sky in Destiny?
We don't know. The giant orb appeared over Earth, and it ushered in a new age of technological like.
And it's Destiny 2, and we still have no idea what it is.
Yeah, we don't know.
Okay.
And
I think you should break it open, and there should be guts inside.
The whole plot of Destiny 2 is someone trying to break it open. The bad guy's like, I want the light, I want that power. Why isn't it giving to me?
I've watched all the lore summaries. I think you're talking about, what's his name, Cull or something.
Yeah, Cull.
Sure.
But yeah, I wouldn't go as far as calling it the Force, because I really don't think there's that much thinking behind it.
Is there that much thinking behind the Force?
Yes, there is. I'm still having a great time with Destiny. If you want to drag me through a Nightfall, please do.
Okay. And so the final game you have played, Niamh, is the Octopath Traveler demo.
You played this too.
I have.
I loved it.
I thought it was really good.
It was this is from the Bravely Default people.
Do you play as the girl or the boy?
Girl.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to play as the boy, so then we could talk about the girl and the boy perspective. But
who's gonna play as the boy?
Yeah, he is such a boy as well. He's just like, I am sword man.
Yeah.
Where the girl is like,
I'm a sexy forbidden dancer princess.
Where she's like, her father dies at the start of the game, and she's like out on the street, and then she's taken in by this like horrible like brothel owner who makes her dance and stuff, and then she's like, I won't dance for you anymore, and she kicks his ass.
Niamh's like wagging her finger as she says that.
Yeah.
You know my favourite line of the whole thing? Go pleasure yourself.
Yeah! I screen capped that so much. It was so good. I was like, that's the closest to a go fuck yourself in a Nintendo game will ever come.
This was quality stuff, like on all fronts. Voice acting, writing, gameplay, story, visuals. Technically, some of this stuff felt a little shitty to me. I thought the frame rate was really low. There was a few parts where like the focus didn't work, didn't go to the edge of the screen and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's got some QC fixes.
Yeah, definitely. And I hope that stuff gets fixed because everything else in it, really stellar. I love the battle system. So much fun.
So it's called Octopath Traveler because at the start you get to pick one of 8 characters. For the demo, there's only 2. Because at the start I was like, that's a terrible name. Like, that's really bad. I thought it was an Octodad thing. But each character has their own battle gimmick. And hers is that you can use a lure, and you can pick literally any NPC in the town, allure them, and they will follow you, and then you can use them in battle.
Yep.
So I just like picked this rando woman who had a speed boost and brought her into battle with me, and she was just like absorbing all the damage, and I kind of felt like an asshole, but it was kind of great as well, because then I was like, oh, and I went back into town. I was like, who else can I find to be my little minion to take all my damage for me? And it was great. It was such a clever battle mechanic.
Yeah, and like I felt like I was having trouble with the boss of that demo. Have you fought him?
Yeah.
He was really hard, I thought. Yep. And so I went back into town and I found like a way tougher person to like seduce and bring with me. And that felt really cool. It was like, wow, I am a like super sexy person like seducing people and making them fight for me. And that was really cool.
And it's interesting because you have to look at the people, look at their buffs, look at their strength level, and you're like, okay, like I went for the speed buff. And with her like coming in all the time, I was so fast that I had like 6 moves ahead of the boss, so I could like whittle him down before he ever touched me. And that like felt great because my character that I took with me was actually quite weak. And it was just like, this like opens up so much stuff.
And like I felt even in the very limited confines of the demo, I was coming up with so many different strategies and stuff, and the way you can like break enemies by capitalizing on their weaknesses. And that's just with Primrose. With the other guy, I played a little bit of his stuff, and you can like switch weapons and all this kind of stuff, and he has like all this different stuff as well. And it's like, I've been playing a bunch of Persona, still really enjoying it, but the combat in Persona is really wearing on me because I feel like Persona combat at its most advanced is still so fucking basic. Like, basic Persona combat looks exactly like advanced Persona combat.
I think Persona is not a great RPG when it comes to combat.
No, it's not.
Like, it's the most shocking aspect I learned about Persona was like, oh, it's like baby's first RPG. Like a Final Fantasy is more in-depth. Like,
but with Octopath, I just, even in the demo, I was like, oh, there's so many different ways I could approach this fight, and it was cool. And I love that you can, like, if you can save up, like, battle points, and this is similar to the Bravely Default system where you could save up turns, but this is, I think, a little better.
Yeah.
A little less abstract, where you can, like, every turn you get like an orb, and you can spend the orb to do like double damage for your attack. But the cool part is like you tap ore and like your guy powers up, and then you tap it again if you have like another orb built up and it powers up, and you can do that 4 times. And when you do it 4 times, your character's basically like a Super Saiyan version of themselves, and it's so cool.
And the great thing about this as well, like using the Switch, is like the subtle vibration in the Switch when you do your break.
Yeah.
It feels so nice. It feels so good. And like, this is what I think the Switch is great for, is this like RPG, this like top-down RPG game. That's my favorite type of game to play on this. I can't wait for this release. It's not going to be until next year.
Yeah. I really hope like they capitalize on everything, because like I thought this demo was great. I really enjoyed my time with it, but what really has me like excited is the idea that this is just the demo and that they can expand on all these ideas. And if they can, man, that's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah, the narrative already, the writing in this is so strong.
It's really good.
From the get-go.
Yeah.
Like, and as you said, the voice acting. I was like, the voice acting of Primrose, I was like, she's so cool. Like,
yeah, she's great.
I loved her. Yeah, really great experience.
And the key art as well, like they just have this one image for the title screen, and it's like your 8 characters just traveling together, and it's like, oh, I want that so bad.
It's such a beautiful illustration. It reminds me of Final Fantasy Tactics a lot.
Yeah.
It's just like really capitalize on that kind of look.
It really feels old school, but it's also doing things I've never seen before. And like, I think the idea behind it is that it's going to be kind of open world.
That's cool.
Like, you're going to start as one of the 8 characters, and it's going to be you traveling around the world and figuring shit out. Have you played this at all, Brian?
Just started it.
Okay, I think you'd like it. It's cool.
There's a thing as well I noticed, like, sprite animation, you wouldn't think you could get subtlety across. There's a moment where all the girls, like the brothel girls, are leaving through the door, and one of them stops and looks back at you. And it's just like, there's so much subtlety put into the sprite animation. Like, there's slap across the face from a sprite. You don't think you could feel it, but you feel it.
Yeah.
And I just really appreciate the level of animation.
That's one of the things I like about sprite animation. Like, you can make little things like that seem really cool and significant in a way that would not work with like a 3D model. Like, but high hopes for that. So we're going to move quickly on into our Quicktime Events. The voice actor strike is coming to an end with a tentative agreement.
So this voice actor strike has been running since February of last year, and it's the longest ever strike in the Screen Actor Guild, running at 11 months. And they've come to a tentative agreement where they haven't got everything they've wanted, but they're talking it through. So the big thing they wanted was residuals. So if a game did really, really well, that a voice actor would be paid more money afterwards. They're not getting that, but they're getting another kind of secondary income kind of like payment thing where depending on the amount of sessions needed to record, they will get more money. Another thing that they will be getting is more transparency. So a lot of the time is, say if you were going to get Overwatch, you would charge more for Overwatch than you would an indie game because it's Blizzard, it's huge, that's what you would do.
Totally.
But they would never be told what games they'd be working on. They wouldn't be told if they had to do a sex scene. They wouldn't have to be told if they had to do a fighting scene where they'd have to scream or shout and kind of like their voices are their jobs. They wouldn't know if they had to say like slurs or racial slurs or anything like that. Now with this agreement that's gone through, they will have a lot more transparency where they will get not the title of the game, but they will get the working title, what it's tentatively related to, so you could tell if it's a sequel, and if they would have to do strenuous stuff with their voices or say these kind of stuff that they might want to.
Which I think is important because I've read interviews with actors before and they had no idea what they were going in for, and that's ridiculous.
And like voice actors are basically freelancers. Like you scale your pricing depending on the project, but how can you do that if you've no idea what the project is?
Yeah.
So this looks like a good thing so far. They're still in talks. We won't know if this will go through until October, like the end of it. But this will be the coming of an end of an 11-month strike for voice actors, which we've seen affect games like Life is Strange and stuff.
Yeah.
And I really hope it works out for them. And it's kind of good to see it kind of come to some kind of resolution.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I hope it works out. Being a voice actor, like, it's a tough a job as any other, and I think it sucks when people can get taken advantage of.
I know some of them, they'll show up for their gig and they get put in a motion capture suit and they weren't told in advance.
Yeah,
That's fucked up. That's like a totally different job.
Yeah. So sometimes it's actual just capturing your voice, but sometimes it is a full performance as well.
Yeah.
And none of that will be in your contract.
So it's just like this idea of like full transparency is what they're really angling for, and they seem to have gotten that aspect of it.
That's cool.
Good.
Did you guys see this thing about Bluehole not being happy with Fortnite's Battle Royale mode?
I have no idea what that meant.
Okay, so Bluehole are the developers of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Okay.
And this is the game that basically took the rule set of Battle Royale, the movie, and made it into a game and did a really good job. 10% of all Steam players right now are playing Battle Royale. It's the most played game on Steam of all time. It's all this kind of stuff. But then... And, you know, the basic premise is 100 people get dropped into a map, you have no weapons starting off, you have to find weapons and kill each other, all while, like, the zone around you encloses, tying you into a smaller and smaller space. And Fortnite have released a mode that is pretty much the exact same, and PlayerUnknown, the Bluehole, the developers of PUBG, which is what people call it, are really pissed. And I think that's really stupid and shitty.
Same, I think it's lame.
It's like, that is just how games work. People take each other's ideas and they iterate on them. That's the way it's always been.
It's a genre.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally a genre. And like, I mean, if you want to get into semantics, PUBG is a mod of Arma to like, not like...
It's a mod of Arma 2 using a rule set from a film.
Yeah. Like, you can't just be like, this is hours.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of this. This can only happen now because of where we are with video games. You know, you couldn't get 100 people on a map before. That's why like a big team battle in like Halo was 16 on a team, and that was stressing it as like all hell. So we're at a point where we can get 100 people on a map, and that's cool. And they're the first game to do this and get mainstream appeal with it, but that doesn't make them, you know, the only people who can.
No.
And I think it's really like kind of weirdly petty. Like they're the number one game right now, and they're still kind of pissed that Fortnite are doing a mode.
Yeah. And like the idea that Bluehole are like the little guy is ridiculous. Like I think they're at like they're at something crazy. I could be way off here, but I think they're at like 10 million sales or something like that.
I can imagine so.
But yeah, it's dumb.
It's crazy.
Like one of the most iterated upon games ever is Street Fighter 2. Like Street Fighter 2 happened, and so many clones happened, but it was for the better part of that genre. Like that ended up to like Mortal Kombat becoming what it is. That ends up to King of Fighters, and it's so petty of Bluehole to be like this.
I think why they're pissed is this will be out before their Xbox releases. So Fortnite will have the console exclusive on this kind of game mode before they do.
Right.
But they're not even coming to PS4, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what do you want, really? And I watched some gameplay videos from Fortnite, and the building mechanics of Fortnite make it very different.
Yeah, that's that. Like, I've played a bunch of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. That sounds different. Oh, man. South Park and Kanye West's mom. I'm really surprised there hasn't been more people talking about this.
Yeah. So, like, last podcast, we were naively thought, hey, maybe if they did this right, maybe if South Park did this right and they dealt with race okay, that this could be an interesting thing. I mean, they instantly proved us wrong with the like trailer that they released. It's like
it is really weird.
It was really weird. It's like the newest trailer for the game, and it's literally a segment about Kanye West as the gay fish. I guess they're not ready to let that joke lie, which I thought was even weird.
How
that they
long
brought
ago
that
was
back.
that?
I don't know.
Fish Sticks, that's the episode, was at the start of this decade.
Jesus Christ.
Like, that's fucking old school. And like, we've ragged ourselves on Kanye West's mom's game, like video game, because it's funny and it's stupid and it's weird. But the way they kind of rag on it in this trailer is just kind of outright, it's just racist. Like, they have Kanye West's mom appear as a fish, because he's a gay fish, on the unicorn, which happens in Kanye's game when she's trying to ascend to heaven.
Is that game out?
No, I think he did the right thing and didn't release it, because I don't think that was ever going to review well, and that was only going to be mocked.
Yeah.
As this is doing, because like it was an endless runner with his mom going to heaven. Like, that was a bad idea from the fucking get-go. But the fish they have on the unicorn's back to represent his mother is just blackface.
Yeah, it's kind of bad.
It's a blackfish with red lips.
Yep.
And then like big white eyes, which I know is like the style of South Park, but then like gold earrings and stuff as well. And it's like, oh, it's not a good look.
Yeah, it really isn't. It was really like, oh wow, okay, you guys really don't give a shit, do you?
Yeah. And like, I know it's kind of South Park and they don't, but like, I kind of feel like South Park is at its best when it's making a point with this stuff. And like, I think out of the three of us, I was the most reluctant on the difficulty slider thing. Like, I wasn't overly for that, but I do totally see the argument for that. This just feels kind of mean-spirited and shitty. And like, even if you take like the blackface stuff out of it, which you can't obviously, I still think it's shitty, because it's still kind of making fun of someone's dead. Like,
yeah.
It's not making fun of Kanye West's game. I feel like it's making fun of his dead mom.
Yeah.
And that there's a big difference there.
Yeah, I feel actually kind of naive for even thinking that this would be kind of something done clever, and I was trying to think about it in terms of other RPGs.
But South Park does have a history of taking like, you know, social or political issues and exploring them in an interesting way, so I don't think it's naive.
Yeah.
It just, the difficulty slider had me a bit and this is like, this kind of confirms it.
Yeah, oh yeah, completely. You're right with your and it's a pity. Hard no on this game.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
out in under 3 weeks. I think I'm gonna get it.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's soon.
Well, I want to get it because you get a. If you get it, you get the Stick of Truth as well, which I've never played.
You see, that's kind of why I want to get it. I love Stick of Truth, but I feel pretty torn about it now. I don't know what I'll do. It depends, I guess, what I'm playing.
It'd be
at
good,
the time.
like, for one of us to play it and tell us what the content is like.
Yeah.
you know?
I'll be playing it. I'm
Yeah.
very desensitized. I don't mind.
The Tomb Raider film trailer came out. Niamh, take it away.
Oh, Jesus. That's fucking true.
Why me take it away? Does
'Cause
no one else have any opinions?
I've also got opinions on it.
Okay. Fuck this trailer.
Yeah, it was a shit trailer.
Looks real cheap.
It looks cheap.
Yeah.
It has the most obnoxious music sting, dung dung, that they keep like.
Yeah.
They did it like 20 times.
There's a slow motion jump, not once, not twice, but thrice. And she's jumping 20 feet, like, each time. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah, it seems like a loose remake of Tomb Raider that came out in 2013.
This is the thing that I don't like about it, is this is meant to be about reboot Lara.
Yeah.
Right? And reboot Lara is totally different beast to classic Lara. Like,
Yeah,
they are
yeah.
literally night and day.
You're right. They ruined her.
They didn't ruin her. Shut up, she's great. I love both of them. I like both Laras, but they're totally different characters. They're different people. And in this game, they have it going the kind of reboot way. Like, this movie, she's like wearing the reboot outfit. It's meant to be based on the reboot. But then the last shot of it is her with the braid and with two fucking dual pistols and her going, I'll take two.
Okay.
Sorry, Niamh. She had. This is my fault for not explaining this to you. Lara Croft used like dual pistols in the first couple of games.
What's
wrong, Niamh? What's wrong?
It's based on the new game.
I get the feeling that bit at the end of the trailer is in the last 2 minutes of the film.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, okay. So I can...
It's just a bad trailer that gives way too much away.
It's a bad trailer, but like there's I boiled it down to 3 places where this can be. Okay, so the idea of the reboot Lara is that she is an explorer, kind of bookworm, who ends up having to fight to defend her life and kill people, and that's it. And maybe that happens too fast in the game or whatever. There's a lot of criticisms about that, but that is what that game is. So in this, does that scene with her with the 2 guns where she's like, bang, bang, I want to kill everything, does that happen pre-mission? Because if it does, that sucks, because that's her being like, I'm ready to go in and kill.
I think Brian's right. I think it's going to be like a post-credit sequence.
That is a bit at the very, very end, and it's setting up a sequel. It's just they shouldn't have put it in
That's
the trailer.
the third option. Second option is, for some reason, she gets off the island, gets stocked up, and comes back, which I think is unlikely, and it's still also like, she's like, bang, bang, want to kill shit. Then the third option, which is Brian's option, which I think is probably the most likely, is an in-credit sequence where she's like got the guns, and that sucks as well, because that's literally her transforming not from this kind of nerdy person into someone who has to kill because she has to, but from reboot Lara into classic Lara, which are totally different characters.
Well, I mean, the real reason they put it in is because they're like, well, you know, we have to get all the old fans interested as well.
People love nostalgia.
That is the perfect example, and we talk about references a lot, but that is the perfect example of, do you get the reference? Like, once I saw that, I was like, oh my fucking god, Niamh out.
But you did, like, I had to explain the reference to you, because you've never played a Tomb Raider game before.
She looked alright as Lara Croft.
What do you guys think of the game? By the way, Niamh has played all the Tomb Raider games. I'm being facetious. I haven't played any of them. I am the one who's wrong here. What do you guys think of the casting?
I like her.
Eh.
She was meant to be played by Daisy Ridley.
That I would have preferred Daisy Ridley so much, and the reason why is, like, I think this actress will probably do an amazing job. I don't think she's buff enough.
Yeah.
She doesn't look like she could kick the shit out of anyone. It looks like a wind could take her out. Her arms just aren't big enough. She doesn't look strong enough. Like, I don't feel she has enough presence of person. Like, if you're going movie Lara, you're following her up after Angelina Jolie. If you're going game Lara, she's buff and ready to brawl. You know what I mean?
Is she buff in the new games?
More so than the actress. Like, the actress seems like she's like,
yeah, she's a little,
like, really small.
Yeah.
So I don't know. She's kind of like, I don't know what they're going for. I'm sure she's going to do a great job, but like visually, she doesn't get it across.
Yeah, she didn't. I don't know. I feel like there's a bunch of different ways Lara Croft can look cool. I feel like her look from the old games is cool. I feel like Angelina's Jolie look was cool. I like the new Lara as well. Like they all have something.
Mm-hmm.
I guess this actor,
Alicia Vikander.
What has she been in, Brian?
Ex Machina.
Oh.
Danish girl. Between Two Oceans. She's dating Michael Fassbender. Who's
Literally nothing where she has to like fight.
No, she does Keira Knightley roles. Do you know what I mean?
That's such a good way of describing that.
She does those kind of stuff.
Yeah, she looked a little just, I don't know, like, even I think they could have styled her a bit cooler or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, just there was something.
Her hair didn't even look Lara-esque.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you have the iconic braid from the old games, and the new game she had like a lot of layering. I don't know, there's something.
She's won an Oscar.
Well, fucking great. Bring it to the table. We'll see. But like, so far, I'm not excited.
She probably doesn't know anything about Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
They gave her a lot of money. I think this movie's being made super fast as well.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
I looked at the other movies this guy has made, and nothing has gone over a 6 out of 10 on IMDb. And I was like, okay, that's really set my expectations. So it's either going to be really bad or kind of bad good, but it's probably not going to be good.
Yeah.
I'll settle for bad good, but I don't think this is the triumphant start to an amazing franchise.
Doesn't feel like it. LawBreakers suffers a disastrous launch. So, have you guys been following LawBreakers at all?
Is this the Overwatch clone?
So, this is Cliffy B, the man behind Gears of War. This is his new IP, who he's been talking up forever. And to quote his words, it's a $30 multiplayer game. None of that $60 bullshit. None of that $60 multiplayer only bullshit. Very clearly targeting his biggest competition, Overwatch. And I've been following this with a little bit of curiosity because I really like it. Okay, I really don't like it when game developers start indirectly criticizing other game developers. I think if you're going to do it, don't be a fucking wuss about it and actually talk about it. But I hate it when people criticize things out of the corner of their mouth, you know? Mm-hmm. And so Cliffy B, this has been his project for many years. And it's funny because there's a lot of parallels with Battleborn. Battleborn was the, passion project of Randy Pitchford, who I think is kind of a dirtbag. And that was a direct, competitor to Overwatch. And it's the same thing with, this very vocal mouthpiece to this, multiplayer MOBA shooter. And it has suffered a really disastrous launch. I think its launch numbers are lower than Battleborn's. And it is getting killed. And I'm going to link a video by a guy called CrowbCat later. I think I've linked his stuff a bunch of times. CrowbCat's amazing because he pretty much does critical analysis videos only using footage from the game's pre-release, and his one of this is just magical. It's fantastic. So I'll be loot dropping that later. We had a Nintendo Direct, and the biggest thing out of it I thought was the demo for Octopath, and then Mario Odyssey still looks great.
Yes, Fire Emblem Muso game looks good. They're both out in October.
Yep, we will find out soon enough.
They said that Doom and Wolfenstein 2 are coming to Switch.
Really surprised about that.
Yeah.
And even more surprised by the Digital Foundry report on Doom. Did you just read that?
No.
It runs super well.
Apparently it runs really well.
Cool.
Which, I don't know how they did that.
I don't know why you would want to play it on a Switch, but okay.
Doom on the go.
If it's your only console, yeah, okay. If it's your only console, then I guess it's great news, but I don't know why you wouldn't play this on a PS4.
People love the fuck
PC.
out of Doom. That's all I can think of. They want it portable.
Wolfenstein 2, it's going to come out 6 months after the release of it on everything else.
That's a weird one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess Bethesda are just in bed with Nintendo.
Yeah. I think it's cool. It's proof of concept. You can put anything on this, really. And I think that's cool. And I think it's cool if you don't own anything else. But otherwise, I just don't know why you would play a shooter on the Switch.
I'm amazed. The Switch dropped this year, didn't it?
Yeah.
I'm amazed we went into this year not knowing if it was going to be a success or not, because now it just feels like such a given thing in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, yeah, it feels already embedded into our lives in a weird
Yeah,
way.
it really does.
We'll play a mainstream game on the go.
Yeah.
Play FIFA.
Finally. And we also had our final piece of news, the Tokyo Game Show. I wasn't following this too closely, but it didn't seem like a whole lot came out.
Nah.
This is good if you like mechs, so it was good for me. New Square Enix game called Left Alive.
Oh, that has Yoji Shinakawa doing the character design.
That's the Metal Gear dude, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Takayuki Yanase, who does the Gundam mecha designs and Ghost in the Shell mecha designs. So I'm all about that. It's a third-person action shooter. There was a little bit of gameplay in it, but I think it looks cool. I'm excited for that. Final Fantasy IX re-release on the PS4. You can get that now.
Cool.
Which is cool. Final Fantasy IX is one of the best ones. And Zone of the Enders remake with VR support.
Which Zone of the Enders?
I think it's the first one. But
I bought that one for the demo of Metal Gear Solid 2. It was fine.
I like that game a lot.
It had some cool stuff. Apparently the second one's amazing. Apparently the second one's one of the best games ever.
I think the designs of Anubis and Jehudi are kind of one of the nicest mech designs.
They're my
going.
favorite mech designs ever, I think.
They're really
like even
pretty.
ahead of like Ava stuff or anything.
Yeah.
I just think they're amazing mech designs.
They're really gorgeous.
Yeah.
Another one that I thought was really weird, and I don't know if many people played it, but Gungrave is getting a VR game.
I had a guy message me, and if you're listening, I'm really sorry, but this was silly. He messaged me like with this big elaborate plan for me to do a video about the PlayStation 2 game Gungrave.
I like the PlayStation 2 Gungrave a lot.
And I think I didn't end up getting back to him because you can't really respond to everyone on like it's just I do not have the time in the day, unfortunately. But and then like 6 months later, I got a message from him, and he fucking went off. He was so pissed.
Oh really?
Yeah, that I hadn't wrote back and that I wasn't going to do a video on Gungrave.
Sorry, Gungrave dude. If it makes you feel any better, Niamh likes Gungrave.
She'll do the video. It's coming out next week.
Yep, that's it. It's the next video, everyone.
Or my memory of Gungrave is glitching through the floor and finding this cool glitch area to run around. It was cool.
So I've never played Gungrave, but I did this was back in the day when I used to read every PlayStation 2 game review. It sure seemed like a game that would happen in.
It was a solid 6 out of 10 game.
All you could
Awesome.
ever want.
Yup.
That kind of makes me want to play it. I might try and track it down.
I have a copy if you want to.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to some PlayStation 2 stuff soon. I think it's time for my... Every 2 years I like to replay one of the Silent Hill games. Silent Hill 3 is up. I'm very excited.
Nice.
Let's get phallic.
Let's get phallic, everybody. And let's also go into our emails.
Alright, I got some.
Okay, why don't you hit us?
Alright, this first one is from Jarrell.
Our boy Jarrell?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Dear Childbirth, Gay Panic, and Brian.
What the fuck is he talking about?
Our old names,
I know.
but we have new names now. Dial-up modem, Niamh.
It's still Gay Panic.
Gay Panic, she's still not sure. And BJ Downtown.
PJ Downtown. Okay.
Yeah, that's my name. What's he saying? There's some stuff here about anime.
I have a weeb friend named John, Ironica, and he got into JoJo. It was fine at first, but over time he would keep making references. Any band or song would instantly be a reference. He would describe people in real life like, this guy's kind of like Okuyasu, or this guy's like Rohan. He would do the poses in the mall of Zawaldo and add the sound effects. He would show me unwanted JoJo meme compilations and would look at me for a reaction. That's the fucking worst. He would do any combination of these things listed above at least once every 30 minutes. This would last for about 4 to 5 minutes. 4 to 5 months, sorry. It got to the point that anytime someone mentions JoJo's, I got annoyed. Doesn't help either that online people compare everything to JoJo, especially if there's a rapid punch attack or in a show or game. I once saw someone describe One Piece as pirate JoJo's. even though they're not that similar. Still love the show, but that was insufferable. I figured you guys must deal with this one or more on such I figured you guys must deal with this on a much more massive scale when it comes to references and jokes being beaten into the ground. How do you deal with it? Any techniques or strategies you use, or does it just not bother you? Thank you for your time.
Hey, first of all, Royale, that email is fucking brilliant.
That was a great email, man. Thank you so much.
I've got such a good mental image of your friend.
Yeah, wow.
It's like me, but like more like intense.
Yeah.
Did you get it?
So, okay, I want to tackle this because Jarrell's friend here sounds like he's hardcore into the JoJo's fandom, and it's funny because there's definitely been like I've seen 2 serious backlashes from the JoJo's fandom recently. There's a guy on YouTube who put out a video, I think he's called the RPG Monger, about how the JoJo's fandom is shit now. It's an alright video. And then our friend Rebecca she was telling me recently as well how Brian's girlfriend Rebecca is like how the JoJo's fandom has kind of gone to shit, and it used to be like a lot of like fan art and fan fiction, and now it's just memes. Have you guys ever been super involved in a fandom?
Yes. I used to be a mod on Final Fantasy Fanatics on MySpace.
Jesus Christ.
Was that all Final Fantasy?
All Final Fantasy all the time, baby.
Okay.
Just gotta love something.
What about you, Brian?
No. I'm a huge One Piece fan, but I don't need to be a dingus. What about you, John?
Never. I'm a lone wolf when it comes to my interests. I don't partake in any fandoms.
John has no friends.
You guys are my friends.
John has no
friends.
A lone wolf.
Yeah, this is really interesting. There are a couple of times I can recall where like a friend of mine like would have kind of gotten very into a particular fandom, and it's like all roads will lead back to that thing, and that is definitely a frustrating feeling.
Do you remember when Jess was super into Death Note and we'd like... Oh no, do you remember when she was real into like Phoenix Wright? And she saw Edgeworth and she was super into Edgeworth.
Yeah.
That was really funny.
That was pretty good.
I think what you do, and when people show you shit in their phone, it's never fun.
There's never been a time where anyone has shown me anything on their phone and I've been like, that's awesome. Like I might say that's cool, but I don't mean it. But like in my head, I've never been like, this is amazing. Remember one time someone, like a friend, was really insistent me showing me this like amazing of, I think it was a League of Legends play, and I was like, oh no, dude, I don't understand that game. It won't mean anything to me. And then he showed it to me, and it just looked like a fucking bunch of After Effects explosions.
It's like if you want to show someone, link them the link and let them watch it on their own time.
Yeah.
But anytime you get the urge to show someone on your phone, imagine them doing it to you. And it will stop you instantly because it's not fun. But you can say to your friend next time he shows you a JoJo things, when someone describes a dream to you, this is how it feels. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I think you just be blunt. Like, look, I'm not into JoJo's as much as you. I actually don't care, and this is annoying because it's just gonna happen all the time. And maybe that one moment of hurt feelings for him will save you a lifetime of annoying memes.
Like, I think the problem with this stuff sometimes is I think it can kind of, when it gets really, really bad, it nearly gets to the point where people, it's kind of like my problems with memes and references in general. It's like it nearly replaces the person's ability to communicate or to make an actual like joke or have a regular conversation, and that's when it gets like really, really irritating.
I know how he feels about the JoJo thing. Like, I'm 100% out of JoJo's because I find the online thing too annoying now. Like, I'm done with it. Like, I'm kind of like, I'll wait until the next anime airs and watch it, but I do not engage with it online anymore. Like, I don't search tags, I don't look at it, I've unfollowed anything that has to do with it. Because it's just, it has become that. It has just become memes, and it's not clever or funny. And I think it's when anything gets too saturated, everything gets diluted. You know?
I think 2017 is a weak year for JoJo because the anime ended, Part 4 ended at the end of 2016. There's no formal announcement of Part 5 anime. We're just in a lull.
Yeah, and so like the fandom is kind of just stagnating because there's no new material.
No I feel like all the JoJo people who have any sense have migrated to Yakuza.
Yeah.
But that's going to happen to Yakuza as well. It just goes in waves. Like, anything that starts off niche and interesting will get a big...
And Yakuza is, like, cool and new.
Yeah. It's going to draw in people, especially if really talented fan artists and fan fiction writers make content for it. It'll draw more and more people in, and then it will become less and less interesting.
Yeah. There's so many parallels between JoJo's and Yakuza. Like, they're both these, like, Eastern properties who were around for years that never got popular, and then they just did.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching Yakuza Kiwami, and Kiryu did an Aura.
Mm-hmm.
It's what the people want.
Brian, you're becoming part of the problem here.
Yeah. I kind of bet up my dog today, and I said, Aura.
You what?
I like to, pretend to beat up my dog.
Pretend, yeah.
Jarrell, that's a tough one. I would say, like, it kind of just sounds like your friend doesn't sound like the most confident person in a bunch of ways, and I think in their own weird way they are trying to, like, I guess get closer to you or, like, bring you into this thing that's super important to them. The only thing is it sounds like you're not into it, and I think the sooner you make them realize that, the better.
Just say, I love you, but I don't care.
Yeah.
The next time he shows you a meme.
Your references mean nothing to me.
Jarrell, I think you gotta talk to him about sports or something. Like, destroy him.
Yeah, do it back to something you know he'll hate.
Yeah.
Get really into the Muppet fandom.
Yeah. Just, like, keep doing Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy at him.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, Kirby!
Jarrell, that was a great email. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Brian, what we got next?
We have one from Louise, and it's sadness and sorrow in video games.
Okay.
I'll skip ahead to the question. Louise, we're thinking about you. But
That was a great email, by the way. Stay strong, buddy.
yeah.
You will find someone else.
Yeah. Is there a specific movie or video game genre y'all seek when sad? I love to play Muso games in general. Truly believe there is something therapeutic in mashing one button and slaying hundreds of enemies. As for movies, I always go at ones I've already seen multiple times and already like very much, like The Incredibles and Redline.
How about you guys?
Muso games, same.
Yeah?
I feel sad, I go up and put on a Muso game. It's pretty easy going.
Feels good.
Samurai Warriors.
What do I do? I've got like a few favorite games that I like to replay whenever I want to go back to better times, I guess. Got my Paper Mario 1000 Year Door. Got my Metroid Fusion. I've got Yoshi's Island.
But when you want something kind of mindless, you don't want to think about it.
I've played those games so many times.
They become mindless.
I can kind of put myself on low battery mode and go on autopilot.
Yeah.
I guess. Films. So there are films I will like repeatedly watch and I'll get stuff out of.
Romeo plus Juliet.
That's one of yours.
Yeah.
I think every Halloween I like to watch Idle Hands. We're coming up to Halloween again, so I'll probably watch Idle Hands. John, do you have anything?
I think I don't. There's no movies I rewatch because I like movies a lot, obviously, but I find movies really stressful because there's such a time commitment. But when I get really down, I'll do one of two things. I will have like a steel chest full of all my old PlayStation 2 games, and I'll just I'll grab it down from above the wardrobe, crack it open, play some PlayStation 2, and that makes me very nostalgic and it makes me very happy. And we're talking games like King of Fighters 2001, any of the weird survival, Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution, that's a fucking great game. Any of them, I like games from that era a lot. But whatever it is, if I get really down, nothing cheers me up like Yu Yu Hakusho. I will just throw on random episodes of that and watch it. Especially for the Chapter Black arc, even though that's not my favorite arc. Something about the vibe and aesthetic of that show cheers me up so much. So I'll rewatch random Yu Yu Hakusho.
I like to read an X-Men run as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I know those stories like the back of my head, and like they're fun. A food thing I like to do is buy a jar of olives, crack that baby open, and sit there sadly and eat the entire thing.
That sounds so sad and kind of gross.
It is. It's kind of nearly like, you know, when you're feeling sad and you're like, I'm gonna put on the saddest song and eat the saddest olives.
What's your go-to sad song?
Oh my god, they're all like probably singer-songwriter, like sad shit.
Alanis Morissette.
Yeah!
Knew it.
Yeah, probably something like Alanis or like Kate Bush or Tori Amos, and just like get really indulgent in that. I used to watch The Hours a lot on repeat when it was sad. So Olives and The Hours with Tori Amos.
For me, if it's early in the day, I'll be like, I'm getting Chinese food later. And I look forward to it so much.
I've heard you say, the amount of times I've heard Brian say, I'm going to get Chinese food as a treat.
Yeah. And I'll get enough Chinese food that I'll have leftovers for the next day.
Oh, but that's just how you do takeout. Like, if you're not doing that, you're fucking up.
And then I sing the Chinese food song as well in anticipation.
What's the Chinese food
Oh,
song?
I don't know.
No, okay, do we not want to sing this song?
It's like Christina Aguilera, I'll just hold certain notes.
Christina.
Yeah, I'll sing it afterwards. Maybe that'll be like a present for someone someday, that I'll sing Chinese food for you.
Yeah.
I might sing it to you at a con.
But yeah, I think nostalgia is a really good thing, like, when you get sad. Brian, you alright?
Yeah, I don't know, is it racist? Why is it racist?
I'll explain to you later.
Brian learns about what it means to be white.
Part 7.
John and Niamh's white guilt, level 5. Brian's white guilt, level 2.
Brian, here's another email there.
Okay, this is the final email that we were going to do.
Final email. Thanks to everyone who sends in emails, by the way. Really, at some point I would like to do an email episode.
Yeah,
and just catch up on a bunch of emails. It's just now ain't the time.
You can email us at askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
That's askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
You can send us whatever you want.
Well, oh man, you want some video game advice? We got that. You want some life advice? We got that. You want some relationship advice? Ooh, shit, buddy, I don't know about that. But hell, we'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Since we're coming up to Halloween, if you want to share some ghost stories with us,
Yeah, we would love some spooky emails.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, please. I'd love a ghost.
let's get spooky on this.
So, actually, I want to do a little call out. We have a listener, and I can't remember who exactly it was, but they emailed us in and they said that they came from a family of exorcists.
Yes.
Buddy, if you want to email us in and maybe give us a little more details about that, maybe, maybe pick the brains of your ancestors, and because I'd be so interested to hear what that involved.
Oh, please.
Yeah, but if you have any creepy stories, we'd love to hear about them.
Yes. Okay. I won't go into the specifics of this email or who sent it, because I think it's quite a broad one, and I'm sure there's other listeners out there.
It's pretty personal stuff.
Yeah. It's personal, but it's also in some ways very relatable.
Totally.
But it's to do, and I guess the subject kind of sums it up, but it is how to be happy.
Yeah.
We got this about a month ago, and we read it, and we've been digesting it since, and we thought we'd talk about it at the end of this episode.
Yeah. I guess the thrust of it is, like, the person who sent this email doesn't sound like they're in a super good place, and they're asking, like, I guess just like the subject, how to be happy.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. That is a big question, but it's kind of something we felt like we should answer.
Yeah.
At least as best we can.
Yeah. The main struggle the person has is they are wearing a mask when they're around other people to perceive themselves as happy, and that they feel like they're wasting other people's time or being an annoyance to them. They're not really representing themselves correctly, and that they're not contributing anything in that sense, which I guess kind of all stems from the one problem. So I guess, yeah.
So with the big question, how to be happy, and with that in mind, I think if you ask anyone, everyone's going to come up with different answers, and everyone's going to relate to this in different ways of how bad you felt at different points in your life. Me, myself, I'm bipolar. I've had bipolar for a really long time, and I've been on medication for a super long time. And when I was, the guy who wrote this in, he gave us his age. When I was your age, I think I would have described myself as the saddest person in the world, and I felt I was never connecting with anyone, and I didn't feel like I had close friends. That is not the case now, and I didn't, like, it didn't happen overnight. I think it was learning to take it easy on myself and to take it easy on yourself. Like, it's not your fault for feeling bad. A lot of it's just not your fault. And beating yourself up only kind of makes it worse. It's a hard thing because it's like, I don't want to say maybe you have depression, but maybe you have depression, and maybe that's something you should look into, or if you feel like you can talk to a parent about it and get support from it. If you don't feel like you can get that, there's a lot of resources online, but it's just this thing is like, you might look outside of yourself and see everyone doing better than you, like, and you think, you really believe it, like everyone is doing so much better and everyone's got their shit together, and why am I like that? Why am I fucking up and why am I failing? You're not. You're really not. Like, everyone is fucking failing upward. You know what I mean? Everyone's pretending a lot of the time and everyone's faking it. They're just better at hiding it, or they know how to mask it a little better. You're not alone with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just learning about yourself a bit more, what makes you tick, what gets you down, learning how to manage these things. And you get there. Like, I'm not saying it's easy, but you do get to a point where you do manage it a little better, and you can kind of be like, I'm not the person who was that sad when I was 18 or 19 or 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like,
I think 21's a very difficult age as well.
Yeah, this is kind of this is exactly what I was just gonna say. Like, I feel bad for anyone who's 21 right now. I think, and I'm sure like there's a lot of people who are 21 and perfectly happy, and that's great. But I also think there is no more difficult an age, because I feel like say for our parents' generation, if you were 21, you had just started working at the job that you were going to work the rest of your life in, and there was a good chance that you were going to have met the person you were going to marry. Everything in that age was super laid out for you, and the world does not work that way anymore. But there's also no clear path for you either. At 21, I felt completely fucking lost, just absolutely clueless at what I was meant to be doing with my life or anything like that. And I think a lot of media and a lot of stuff like that will tell you that you should have everything figured out by 21. Like, they'll tell you that being a teenager is when you fuck up, and being 20, like in your early 20s is when you get it together, and then you're 30 and you're running your own business. That's the way media treats this stuff, and it's really not the case at all. To me, it's like being a teenager. I don't even know how to describe that experience anymore. It seems to get more bizarre every year. But to me, like, your 20s, and even like as late as your late 20s, that's when you really start to figure out who you are and what's important. And like in this email, the person describes how they look at a lot of other people and I guess they feel kind of inferior. But I think a big part of growing up is like, you realize everyone is kind of struggling with their own shit and everyone is fucking up in their own way. And you can't compare yourself to your kind of false ideas of what they're going through.
Yeah, I think especially if they're representing themselves online, people will only ever put out the best or the good stuff of their positive avatar online. Definitely. So you'll never see someone having a bad day on the internet. Mm. Or if they do have a bad day, it'll have like, a funny story. It's never the dark stuff.
It's curated for mass consumption.
Yeah. And so I think people kind of, especially in this day and age, people kind of do that in all aspects of their life, digital and physical. I've seen happiness described as a measurement of your personality.
I've seen happiness described as just not caring. You know what I mean? It's like you just I asked my mom, I was just like, when does shit get easier? And she was like, you just stop caring. And I was like, oh, and that seemed really cynical. But I think not caring about how people perceive you is actually kind of powerful.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's more to do with being content, which is another way of looking at it, because content can be fulfilling.
Yeah.
In that aspect.
I definitely feel like that whenever I've kind of been at my lowest, it's always when I'm consumed with how other people see me, as opposed to just how I feel about things, and that's a bad road to go down.
Yeah.
A tip I was given for depression, and this may work for me because this is the way I think, but if you think about it, this is very technical, but if you think about your emotions as a circle, and if you're at the lowest point and you feel the lowest you've ever felt, the only reason you can feel low is because you've been at the top of the circle and you felt high. You know what I mean? So you can only ever experience sadness through the experience of feeling happiness. And if you try and just kind of defeat this kind of like depression as like, this is something I can beat, that will only lead to more sadness because you haven't achieved a goal of beating something. But if you look at your emotions and your feelings as a circle, and when you're at your lowest go, well, I'm at my lowest now, the only place is literally up.
Yeah.
There might be a down. It'll also prepare you for a possible down. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of the way I get through this. When I feel sad, I feel like, well, there's going to be an up. I'm going to climb out of this. And I find the circle method works very well for me. And I know it sounds very simple, but you only know sadness because you've experienced joy. And that's the way I try and view it.
I think there's a lot of different ways people can suffer from this stuff. One thing I would say though is like I do feel that people are very slow to want to get help for this kind of thing too. And you know, again, I don't want to say the person, I don't have the information or the expertise at all to say the person who sent this has like, you know, depression or anxiety or anything like that. I'd certainly see symptoms of it, but I do think like if it's a constant struggle for you, like I think I've talked before on the podcast about like I went through some really, really bad times with anxiety, and it definitely got to a point where it was like I couldn't really deal with it anymore, where it was like starting to affect my like professional life and stuff. But getting to that point was also the point where I was like, okay, I need to go ahead, get help. I need to like, you know, see a professional and talk to them about it. And like I went to a therapist for a little while, and that was really, really helpful. And I know a big part of that as well was like telling my friends about it and having their support. And I know not everyone is in a position where they might have people they can talk to, but the point is that you don't have to put up, like you don't have to accept that this is what your life is always going to be if it's not going away. Like if it's just a natural part of your kind of emotional cycle, that's great. But if it's ongoing, I think it is good to be proactive and like search out tips on the internet. Like look at what's worked for other people, and what works for different people is going to be very different depending on who you are. Like for me, like exercise helped a lot. For me, like writing about my problems helped a lot, and you know, seeing a professional helped a lot. But I think the important part is not any one's particular solution, but the fact that you are trying to tackle the problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think at a base level, a lot of this is just from unchecked stress that can lead to other things. I think with depression, there could be clinical depression where it's just part of who you are, but then some of it is an external cause as well.
Totally.
But that's generally stress related from, and I'm not sure. And like it really, really depends on the person and the circumstances that they're in. That it could be a variety of sources, but the person who sent in the email is definitely aware and is working towards a productive path.
Yeah, like even sending in the email, like you're trying, you know, like you're trying to get out of this. That's great.
You are, because some people wouldn't be brave enough to do that.
And just even from this conversation, the three of us have all dealt with sadness on different levels, and the three of us all have different answers of how is best to deal with it. You know what I mean? And what works for us.
Yeah.
There is no hard and fast rules for it, but yeah, reaching out is kind of like the most important thing, and you've done that, and that shows that you are not content with being sad.
Yeah.
And that's the first step in doing this.
And I think people can surprise you. Like I think you'd be surprised how open people can be to this kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you to reach out to people.
I think if you can just be frank, honest, like informal about it, and not treat it as if it's this kind of like professional thing, that it's not a big deal, then it won't be a big deal.
And, you know, be gentle with yourself. Everyone fucks up from time to time. Everyone gets things wrong. Everyone wishes they could do things differently. And I think it's really great to learn from your mistakes, but constantly berating yourself over and over and over, that there's no benefit to that at all. Like, none at all.
There's not one person who hasn't walked away from a conversation with another person and went, well, fuck that up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh my god, yeah.
It's like, that happens so much, but it's like, I don't know, just take care of yourself, be kind to yourself. You're a lot better and braver than you know.
Yeah.
Alright, so I was saying this to you guys earlier on about the book I'm listening to at the moment. I'm 5 hours into this. It is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
This is a book written by Darren Brown, who is a mentalist, which is a form of magician.
Brian's a huge Darren Brown fan.
I love Darren Brown. Darren Brown definitely is a stand user.
Woo!
Okay, so he's written a book called Happy, and it's his version of a self-help book. And it's a book on just how to be happy. And I'm reading it at the moment just because I'm recovering from a phase of my life the past few months that I'm nearly out of. And this book is fantastic. It's really cool because it's a self-help book, but he's super into debunking self-help books. So he's talking about other competitor books like The Secret, and explaining like where the bullshit is in them, and explaining, you know, how the human brain works, but then giving you exercises and how to do it yourself, and approaching it in a way that doesn't take advantage of you in any capacity. So some chapters are very light, entertaining, which is great because that way the whole book isn't this heavy instructional thing. And so it might be difficult to get in America because it's a UK book, but it is on Audible, so I'm listening to the audiobook of it, and you can totally do a 3 month trial. That's what I'm doing, buddy. I'm not plugging Audible, but if Audible wants to... But no, I highly recommend this book. I'm getting lots out of it. But it's really just down to perception, but there's bits where he talks about faith healing. Because it just seems like in different parts of the world there's different ways to treat happiness or lack of happiness, and not feeling yourself and wanting to get rid of something that's negative.
Even on the clinical side, which is where my experiences come from, you'll meet loads of therapists and loads of doctors who will give you different drugs, and one will work and one won't work, or someone will go a real Freudian route with you and another one won't, you know what I mean?
Trying other things.
Yeah, and it's just like, that's their way of kind of dealing with it, and that doesn't mean that's your solution.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And you nearly have to, it's really hard because you're like, okay, I found the courage to go see a therapist. And then you go see a therapist and you're like, you're an idiot asshole. You know what I mean? And it doesn't work for you at all. And maybe it will work for you.
When I started seeing a therapist, I got like a bunch of like 12 therapists, and I just sat down for an evening and I phoned them all. And like, there were so many where I felt like no kind of connection to them at all. Just complete, God, I would never want to meet this person.
Yeah, it's really like picking a hairdresser.
Yeah, it is. And
one of them told me I was gay because of my depression, and I was like, okay, goodbye now. You know.
Thank you, doctor.
But then like, when I did find one I clicked with, like it really helped a lot. But again, like, that's not for everyone either. I think, try things.
The last thing I'll leave you with is the last therapist I saw. And this is so lame, and people will roll their eyes because it's such a Niamh thing that totally worked. But he put his book up in front of my eyes and he said, "What do you see?" And I was just like, a black book. And he was just like, okay. And then he took a few steps back and he was holding the book in the room and he goes, "What do you see now?" And I was just like, the book in the room. And he was like, okay, that's your depression. This is not something you get rid of. This is something that you live with in your life. It'll be there in the room, but you still see the rest of the room. It doesn't obscure your vision.
That's really clever. God.
Yeah, because I was always looking at it as something I should beat and something I needed to overcome instead of learning to manage it.
You're just focusing on it the whole time.
Yeah.
But that's not... You're losing sight of everything else then.
Exactly. So then when I kind of thought about it that way, it was like, this is something I manage and just is in my life rather than is my life.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those, I get you, dude.
I think, like, we get emails like this every once in a while. And, like, you know, whoever sent them, like, you know who you are. But I think it's just kind of something we wanted to delve into a little more this time because... Yeah, we get emails like this, and like, you know, it's hard, and people should take care of themselves, and it's a fucking weird world we live in, and not enough people talk about this stuff. So, I hope this conversation helped.
It's been a strange year.
It has been a strange year. And with that, we're going to move into our loot drops.
Woo!
Okay, I am going to loot drop the CrowbCat video on oh god, that conversation's fried my brain. That CrowbCat video on LawBreakers. I really love seeing PR campaigns fall apart, and no one does it better than CrowbCat.
Niamh, you got anything?
Jesus fucking Christ, Niamh.
I've got nothing either.
No, I do. I do. I'm gonna loot drop. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie. It's Comic Book Girl 19's Epic History X. Why you should read X-Men.
They're good.
Probably did it before, but I'm doing it again. Love it.
It's back again.
I've rewatched it so many times. So
it's her comfort food.
Yeah.
I'm gonna link the Darren Brown book. I don't know how I'll link it, but I'll link it to you on Amazon, buddy. I'll do it. Cool. I'll link you the Audible. If you want to use the code Let's Fight a Poo, you can get 10% off your first Audible.
That's not going to work. That's not real.
John is a chicken nugget. Use that code.
Okay, don't like that.
Niamh's face is on fire. That's the code. All in caps.
One other little thing I wanted to address. We got an email or two in just about, like, I think my talk last week about some of the feedback on my last video. And I think, like, since then I've kind of had time to chill out and relax a lot. And I think at the time, definitely listening back to that podcast, I was undervaluing how, like, I guess, like, how valuable criticism can be. And I've kind of come around to a lot of that stuff. And, like, yeah, so, like, I know we got one email in particular about the podcast from a dude who felt bad about it. Criticism's importance. Failing is hard, makes us stronger. Just want to get that out there.
John's going to be back fighting soon.
I will. I sure will. And that's going to do it for episode 59 of the podcast. Send your spooky spores to
Spore everyone. Okay, we are going to do a Let's Play of Spore.
What? No!
John has a capture card. We're going to do Spore. You guys like Spore?
I like Spore.
Niamh loves Spore. Niamh loves to play God.
I really do.
John got a lot out of Black and White, and then
that game really destroyed my faith in video games.
And then John got even more out of Spore.
I'd never even played. Those are from different. Look, this is email ask@twitterboss@gmail.com.
It's way past John's bedtime. We need to tuck him in.
I'm so tired.
No. All aboard the Tucking Express. Next stop, Dreamland.
No,
choo-choo.
The idea of you two tucking me in is like the biggest nightmare I could imagine.
I'd love to tuck you in.
He has like a 4-piece jammy set that we're going to put on him.
John has a nightcap.
Yeah.
And he needs a warm glass of milk, but not too warm, but not too cold either.
We both put our fingers in to make sure the temperature is just right, and we give it a little stir.
And like John's under the blankets, but he's got his head poking out, and he's like, "Did you tuck the blanket in underneath the mattress?" And we'd be like, "Yes, John, we did." And he's like, "Tell the story about the honey bear."
What kind of fucking weird fantasy family is this?
It's my sex fantasy.
And then we check the wardrobe for monsters for poor John.
Yeah.
And then we put him to bed.
Yeah.
And we sing.
We sing Good Night Wish, Good Night Fish,
Could
Good
this
Night
podcast
Squish.
please end?
We'll rip a rap for you. Did you ever rip a rap?
No.
All aboard the Tucking Express, my boy. It's time to close your eyes. Happy enjoy. I love you, John. I love you, Niamh. I'm your boy, Brian. Let's all cuddle together.
Good night, everyone. Sleep tight.
Good night, John.
Good night.